Welcome to Dominico Field at Christie Pitts. It's just about time for Game 2 of the IBL Finals right here on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Patrick Melbourne, Ryan Eakin here with you for Game 4. We've got a great pitching matchup, and we don't know what to expect, Ryan, because we have had back and forth throughout the season. All three teams have won at home so far. Let's take a look at Game 3 just before we get started in looking at Game 4. It was a 6-3 win for the London Majors. Jose Arias got the win over Marek Deska. Fernando Fernandez came in and got the save. Majors currently lead the series 2-1. And if you'd like to read more about it, you can read the Woodbine Racetrack Game Report on MapleLeafsBaseball.com. Moving ahead to Game 4 now, Ryan. You look at Owen Boone, you look at Angel Castro, the aces for both teams. It's going to be, I don't want to guarantee a pitching duel, but it sure looks like a pitching duel.
Well, it's going to have to be for the Maple Leafs because we know what Owen Boone is going to do for London because he's done it all season, and that's win ball games for them. He keeps his team in the game. He only allows 2-3 runs a game, and Castro has to do exactly that tonight for the Maple Leafs because we know Boone will do it for London.
We just had the national anthem and the starting lineups over the public address, so let's give you the starting lineups here before we get started. First, for the visiting London Majors, who, as mentioned, will have Owen Boone on the mound. It will be Jacob Newton leading off. He is the second baseman. Then Taylor Wright, the third baseman, is batting second. Gibson Kreminski, the DH, is batting third. A late lineup change as Cleveland Brownlee is feeling under the weather. Robert Mullen, the catcher, is batting in the cleanup spot. Then Byron Reichstein, the left fielder. Starling Joseph, the right fielder. Austin Wilke in center. And then Dan Perrier, the first baseman, and Keith Candell, the shortstop. You look at the lineup, some big power at the top, some big power in the middle. There's no place for the Leafs pitching to take a break.
There isn't, especially at this ballpark. And 1-9, the one thing this London team does is they make contact, right? And they're aggressive. Early in counts, they swing quite often on the first pitch, if not the first pitch, the second pitch. So you have to be ready for that because this is a team that has power, yes, but the biggest thing they want to do is simply get on base.
They had 2 home runs in Game 3 at Labatt Park. And this is obviously a very homer-friendly ballpark in Dominico Field. Guys like Jacob Newton and Byron Reichstein, the 2 players who hit the home runs in the last game, they're going to be locked in, and they're going to try to go deep again here today against Angel Castro. Castro had one of his weaker IBL starts earlier in this series. What does he need to do to avoid repeating that?
Well, he needs to throw strikes, right? What happened in that game was he was hitting too many batters and he was throwing too many balls that led to base on balls. And in this league, you're facing a team in the finals, that other team can hit. And there's no question London can. I mean, he allowed base runners on. What happened? Their top guys came up with big hits. There's a bases loaded 2-out spot, or 1-out spot, on Tuesday after he allowed a couple base runners. And what did Cleveland Brownlee do? Cleveland Brownlee clear the bases. So in this game, the biggest thing is don't allow base runners. If you're going to allow home runs, look what happened on Thursday in Game 2. Byron Reichstein hit a home run, but it was only a 2-run home run. Those 2-run home runs cannot become grand slams or 3-run home runs.
Quickly, the defense for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they line up defensively for the first time tonight. Carrington in left. In center field's Connor Lewis, and in right field is Marcus Kinetz. Left to right in the infield, it'll be Jonathan Salazzo at third. Shortstop is Jose Venezio. Second baseman's Dan Mara, and the first baseman is Jordan Castaldo. Behind the plate, Justin Mara for Angel Castro. Patrick Melbourne, Ryan Eakin, Miles Ryback here as well. Ben Davey, our PA announcer. Roger Lajoie is our statistician here today. Can't wait for it. Angel Castro doing his warm-up tosses. The right-hander has really been the Maple Leafs ace since joining the team midway through the year. The first half of the year, they had some different strategies when it came to the starting rotation, some younger arms, but Castro came in, and although he struggled at first, he did really settle down and get into a groove as the Maple Leafs ace.
Yeah, and that was always the plan, right? And this team knew that in May and June, they didn't have Marcus Connect, they didn't have any of their import pitchers outside of Dustin Richardson, right? And they didn't even have Jose Venezio. So that team in May and June is not the team that you're going to see come August and September. And sure enough, that Leaf team now, which was a 500 team throughout the regular season, is now in the IBL Finals.
All right, just about time to get started here on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. The starting lineup, by the way, brought to you by Finney Real Estate. We'll talk more about Finney Real Estate when the Leafs lineup is brought to you in the bottom of the first inning. Jacob Newton will lead off. He's a left-handed hitter playing second base today. Went 1 for 4 in Game 3 and has had a really nice series. He's had a really nice season overall. A power-hitting second baseman, good defender as well. First pitch from Castro is right over the middle of the plate for a strike, and the count is 0-1.
There's no question what Jacob Newton can do on top of London's lineup. A ton of speed. We saw him hit a triple in this game, or in this ballpark in Game 2, and a massive home run in the last game.
First pitch gets going at 7:35. Second pitch is grounded right to Jose Venezio. Throw on to first, and that's how this game gets started. So a ground out to Venezio at shortstop, and that'll bring up Taylor Wright. Wright, another guy who's been hot lately. This batting order hasn't changed much, but it's been for good reason. The top of the order has really been on a good groove.
Yeah, there's two left-handed bats facing a right-handed Castro to begin. And we talk about Newton, and now we talk about Wright. These are two guys that are likely not going to be London Majors next season. Quite likely to be in independent baseball, and for great reasons. They've had excellent seasons in their first season in the IBL.
Now, for someone who might be new to the IBL and baseball across North America, when you say independent league, you're talking about the Frontier League or the American Association. How would you describe those leagues?
Higher quality than the IBL, right? I mean, the pitching's better. 1 to 9, the bats are better. But at the same time, there's guys that get cut from that league, and the first league they go to in Canada is the IBL because that's the next best league.
And sometimes guys can do well there, but not so well here. It's a different atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, Marcelo Lacasse is one of those guys that's had a great season playing independent baseball in the Frontier League. And then Taylor Wright, he began the season with London, ended up signing with Ottawa for a bit. They needed someone that could play shortstop, and at that time, as a guy that played third base, they tried him out at shortstop, and now he comes back this season. But he could easily be a Titan again next season.
Count now 3-0 to Taylor Wright, the third baseman. And that's a strike, and the count is 3-1. It'll be Wright and then Gibson Kreminski. We learned pregame that Cleveland Brownlee was unavailable for tonight's game, at least to start the game, as he is feeling under the weather. As Wright hits that one up the middle, moving to his right is the center fielder Austin Wilke. Or excuse me, I did that last game too. Connor Lewis, he makes the catch, and that is the second out of the inning.
Yeah, and with Cleveland Brownlee, I mean, this entire London team, I shouldn't say the entire London team, but there's some guys on that team that are quite sick right now, but as long as it's not COVID, they're just going to try to play through it and hope that they can end this season in a dog pile, even though they're not at 100%.
And obviously, we wish the best on a health level to any London Majors player who is feeling under the weather. We hope you get back to 100% shortly. Here's Gibson Kreminski. He's 1 for 5 across the postseason. He has a couple RBI. First pitch to him is a strike, 0-1.
And Kreminski's one of those guys that on most teams in the league is playing every single day. Here in London, 5 at-bats in the playoffs.
Well, we mentioned it last time, as that is grounded to the left side and through Jose Venezio at shortstop. It was a ball grounded between the third baseman and the shortstop, third baseman Salazzo, shortstop, Venezio. It managed to get by both of them, and it's a base hit for Kreminski, first hit of the day for the London Majors.
Yeah, he had the 2 quick outs, right? But now it brings up the best catcher in the IBL in a guy like Mullen, who with one shot can give London a 2-0 lead.
And how does it change the mentality on the mound when you're Angel Castro almost out of the inning, but now there's a base hit, a runner on with 2 out?
Well, that's the approach against this entire London lineup, right? The inning's not over until you get to 3 outs because, again, even if a guy like Mullen gets out, next inning leads off as a guy like Reichstein, who's been outstanding throughout this playoff series against the Maple Leafs. So there's no easy out 1 tonight.
Here's Robert Mullen. Toss over to first to keep him close. At first, Kreminski's got good speed, not great, but good. That's up high to Mullen. Mullen, for those unaware, has really been a good story for the London Majors this season. First year in the IBL, and the Majors found him, and he has been not only a strong defender, working with the pitchers well, but he's also been one of the league's top bats. Righty-righty matchup. Castro comes home, and Mullen hits that one to left center field. Going back is Lewis at the wall, and he's going to have to field it as it bounces off the wall. Rounding third is Kreminski. He's going to be waved in. The throw comes in to Dan Mara, but Kreminski is going to score. It's an RBI double for Robert Mullen, and there's that offense from the London Majors. It's 1-0.
Yeah, and if Lewis played that off the hop, off the fence, he may have had a play at the plate, but he didn't. and it gives London a 1-0 lead.
And that's a hard one to judge off the bat because you don't know if it's going over the fence, over your head. You don't know if it's going to go in front of you. It's that weird time of night where it's not quite nighttime, but it's also not quite daytime.
Yeah, and I think most people thought off the bat that ball may have been gone, but it ends up being a 2-out stand-up double for Mullen, and it brings up Reichstein, who's had a home run in the last 2 games.
Hey, Christy Pitts held a fly ball.
Yeah,
How about that?
Well, dead center at Christy Pitts is not easy. So when you see someone do it, Ryan Rio did it a couple of times in the first round, it's not easy.
It's not quite as big a homer park, or hitter-friendly park, as its reputation. It's very much a hitter-friendly park, but not quite that much.
To a left-handed bat, yes, but to a guy like Mullen, a right-handed bat, it's not always easy.
First pitch, a strike to Byron Reichstein. Reichstein had a home run in Game 3, also went 2 for 4. And he hits a fly ball to the left side. It's going to go well foul. But he got a good piece of that. Didn't miss it by much. Reichstein, another one of those powerful majors bats. A lot of people consider the majors offense the best in the IBL. And you look back at last year's championship team for London, it was very different than this, but it was also built in a very similar way. Righty comes home, and that's fouled right back to the screen.
Yeah, that lineup last season was not exactly a lot of power, right? You had Reichstein, you had Cleveland Brownlee, but besides that, they were getting on base, they were stealing bases, and they can pitch.
But this
time around, yeah.
There's a lot more power, but even the hitters they got, the main thing they looked for was getting on base and
100%.
continuing the kind of, you need to streak them together to make things happen. Pitch from Castro's up and away.
The only guy that's really the difference is a guy like Starling Joseph, who's on deck for London, because he came in, and what London thought in a guy like Joseph was he might bat 200, but he might hit 15, 16 home runs. He's ended up doing everything for them, right? He's gotten on base, and he's hit a ton of home runs, too. So that whole lineup, 1 to 9, can get on base, and a lot of those guys have power, too.
Lefty-righty matchup, lefty at the plate. Pitch from Castro's up high again, and it's 2-2. You look at Starling Joseph on deck. He's a guy who comes in under the import player rule. He is not at a premier position, so he really does need to hit exactly how they expect him to keep that spot. And you're right, he's done more than expected.
Yeah, he's not a catcher, he's not a shortstop, he's not a starting pitcher, and he's not a closer. Yet he's one of the best bats in this league.
He's on deck right now. 2-2 to Byron Reichstein coming. Here it is. That is strike 3 call. Right in the middle of the zone, and Reichstein checking with the umpire to see it is indeed a strike. Heading to the bottom of the first inning, London gets 1. They're up 1-0 here at Christy Pitts in Game 4. You're watching Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust.
The shortstop, number 1, Jose
Jose Venezio will lead things off. Let's take a look at the Leafs starting lineup. It is presented by Finney Real Estate. Jose Venezio, the shortstop, is batting first, and then Jordan Castaldo, the first baseman. The catcher, Justin Mara, and then Marcus Kinects is the right fielder batting fourth. Jonathan Salazzo is the third baseman batting fifth, and then Connor Lewis, the center fielder, Dan Mara, the second baseman, Damon Topley, the designated hitter, and then Greg Carrington, the left fielder. And as Venezio takes the ball inside, 1-0, they're facing maybe the best pitcher in the IBL this season, Ryan Eakin. It is Owen Boone.
Yeah, if I had to begin a franchise with any player in the league, it'd be Owen Boone, simply because he's a Canadian pitcher.
On the ground to second base. Over to first, and that is a quick first out. Jacob Newton plays it, throws it on to first, and Dan Perrier makes the play.
He's a Canadian pitcher, and he's the best one at that by a country mile. I think he's the most important player in this league. You know, Claudio Custodio won the MVP, but there's no one more important to their team success than Owen Boone, because he gives you import value as a Canadian.
When you're building a team, having that Canadian talent at key positions like starting pitcher allows you to go in other places and get that right fielder who can really hit.
Well, you look at the Baycats dynasty, right? They had Matt St. Kitts as their number 3 Canadian top pitcher, and no other team had a St. Kitts. When it came to Game 3, and teams no longer had an import pitcher, the Baycats during their dynasty had St. Kitts, and another team had some average Canadian. That was always the difference, season in, season out.
First pitch is just at the top of the strike zone for a strike, 0-1. This is Jordan Castaldo, the first baseman. He went 2 for 3 with a double in Game 3. And that is inside. Right near the hands of Jordan Castaldo, 1-1. Castaldo started the year a little bit slow for the Maple Leafs. We were kind of wondering what kind of season he would have, and then he had a really, really good stretch and got his numbers all the way up to what we're used to from Jordan Castaldo by the end as he swings and misses. It's 1-2.
He missed the last month of the season, and yet he still led the league in walks, right? This guy gives you a professional at-bat every time he's up at the plate, and there's no question he's been one of the best bats in this league for the last decade.
A strong lefty bat. Both these teams like their strong lefty bats at the top of the order. Owen Boone kicks, delivers, and that just misses down the middle, but a little bit wide. It is 2-2.
When we go back to Boone's last outing, what was so key in that outing was he didn't walk anyone, but one guy was put on base via a free pass, and that was a massive difference in that game.
Now, I've noticed something about you and the way you analyze baseball, okay?
Okay.
Pitch coming from Boone, the 2-2, is fouled back to the screen. Didn't miss that one by much, just got a little bit under it, remains 2-2. You really dislike walks, and you really dislike errors.
Yes.
Why is that?
Self-inflicted, right? I mean, you can't beat yourself in the playoffs, especially, right? Like, if you're the Leafs, you're putting guys on via free passes. You can't be making mistakes defensively and giving extra outs to a lineup like London, right? And vice versa if you're the major. So those are the two things in any level of baseball that win championships, but especially here in the IBL.
Sixth pitch of the at-bat coming. And that's up high. It is 3-2. Good at-bat here from Castaldo.
The way I look at it, even the top pitchers in this league are not so great, maybe outside of a Jose Fernandez, that they can make up for mistakes made by their defense or mistakes made by themselves.
Jose Fernandez of the Hamilton Cardinals, a former Toronto Blue Jays prospect. Pitch number 8 of the at-bat. Fouled right back off Mullen. He makes the catch, and that's the strikeout.
That's as clutch of a drop third strike catch that you'll see from a catcher. That was a great play by Mullen and a massive out.
So the strikeout off the foul tip, and there are 2 out now for Justin Mara. We came into Game 2 with Justin Mara having a bit of a cold postseason so far. He had really struggled to get the bat going, even into Game 1. But then he came out in Game 2 and was a triple shy of the cycle, had a big home run, a big double. What changed in his approach?
I think for him is once he gets going, he's tough to slow down, right? We've seen it all season. Throughout the month of May, he didn't have one home run, and by mid-June, he had a home run in 5 straight games, right? So a lot of bats in this league can be streaky, but perhaps none more so than the guy batting now for the Maple Leafs, because once he's hot, he's really tough to slow down.
And when he's on, he is an important bat for the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of 3 brothers on the team. As a check swing strike just above the strike zone. That didn't look like it would have been a strike, but I think Mara went around anyway, 0-1. You look at the impact these Mara brothers have had for this franchise. They were all announced on the same day to be returning in the preseason, Justin, Dan, and Adam. As Justin pops that one up really high, the third baseman moving over, getting under it, and making the play. That's Taylor Wright, and that will end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Owen Boone on the mound to ground out a strikeout and a pop-up. Heading to the second inning, it is still 1-0 London Majors. You're watching Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Welcome back to Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball TV. Patrick Melbourne, Ryan Eakin with you. Miles Ryback here as well. Leading off the inning is Starling Joseph. It'll be Joseph and then Austin Wilke and Dan Perrier. Joseph, the right fielder today, did not have a good day in Game 3. A rare off game performance-wise for Starling Joseph. He went 0 for 3. Hits the first pitch to the right side, foul.
Even in Game 2, he struck out 3 times, made a mistake defensively out in right field, but for him, it's really just a matter of getting going, because once he does, he's tough to slow down.
It's a bad time to go cold.
It is, but it helps when you got a guy like Reichstein batting the way he is.
Yeah, there's a lot of support in this lineup.
Yeah.
And Starling Joseph is a good player. Righty-righty matchup, big cut and a miss there. And it's 0-2.
I have to give a shout-out to some of my CSM classmates listening. They're all in their buddy's condo today, listening to a couple of experts on the broadcast today.
There you go.
Listening to Game 4 of the IBL Finals.
College of Sports Media. A couple of College of Sports Media people on the broadcast.
You think we might be representing the school fine?
There you go.
Maybe.
Pitch from Angel Castro. And that's up and away.
Maybe not, though. Who knows?
I hope we are. All right, but the whole order normally is pretty tough to face, but in Game 3, Joseph and Wilke went a combined 0 for 7. As Wilke hits that one to right center field, it's going to drop. And that's a base hit for Wilke, his first one since Game 2. And for the second straight inning, the Majors have a base runner.
Wilke has always hit the Maple Leafs with, great success, and he gets on base. Sometimes he can even hit a home run, and he's a nice guy. He's not a guy that a lot of people talk about. He began his time in the IBL back in Brantford. Then he went to Guelph, and now he's in London. He's really found a home here with the Majors because he's one of the better bats right now in this lineup.
I tell you, it'll be interesting to see what the Brantford Red Sox look like next year, because last year it was a team that was fairly competitive. This year, not so much, but they have a lot of young talent learning coming through the system. Another year of experience behind them. You You wonder if that'll help them out if they add a couple of players.
Yeah, there's no question that they need, some help both off the field and on the field to really right that ship. There's no question that, what happened this past season
But
can't happen
things
again.
can switch around quickly. I mean, you look at the Hamilton Cardinals, a rough regular season, but they had a decent playoff run. Runner goes, that's hit to the left side. That's going to stay fair. Salazzo picks it up, but there's not going to be a play. It'll be an infield single for Dan Perrier. Austin Wilke was off on the pitch. Goes to second, and now there are 2 runners on with 1 away for Keith Candell.
This could have been perhaps a 3-up, 3-down. That second play, up at the inning from a guy like Wilke, that could have been a fly ball. You just happened to find some green, and then on that play, not much really anyone can do. But instead, it's guy on first and second, and it brings up Keith Candell, who's hit the ball well, really, right from the beginning of this season.
The sun has essentially set here at Christie Pitts, and it is a nice night for a ball game. Not quite as ideal, picture perfect as Game 2, but not far off. It's just that difference mainly is it's a tiny bit colder.
We'll take it. Feels like playoff baseball.
It does. Angel Castro looks back at second, now comes home. There's a strike. First pitch strike to Keith Candell. He went 1 for 4 in Game 3. Scored a couple of runs. Candell, I mean, again, that kind of leadoff hitter, batting ninth, reverse leadoff strategy. He's a very good defensive shortstop. Righty on Angel Castro again, looks back, now comes home, and that's chopped to the right side. It'll go foul into the bullpen for the majors. And the count is 0-2.
And a ball on the ground is not a lock to turn 2. Candell has a ton of speed coming out of the batter's box, so a ball on the ground might not get Castro out of this inning.
These are 2 of the quicker teams in the IBL. The Jackfish were the quickest team in the IBL over the regular season, but then shifted their strategy away from speed a little bit in the playoffs. Fouled way back into the trees on the right side.
Well, one of the things with the Jackfish, too, is that you can't steal first base, right? You have to get on base and then do stuff, and the Leafs pitching staff did a nice job outside of really Game 1.
If anybody can steal first base, it'll be Ethan Hammond, though.
Yeah, I mean, that entire,
That guy can run. 0-2 to Keith Candell. And stepping off is Castro. Dan Mara running to the bag at second base in case he wanted to pick off, throw back. He's not going to pick off, throw back, though. Comes home. That's down and away. Gets away from Mara briefly. And I feel like in Game 2 at this park, there were a few plays from both catchers where it wasn't quite as ideal as they wanted to play it.
Yeah, there's no question, right? I mean, there's that one play that Mara thought he had on a tip, and it wasn't, or at least he thought it wasn't. But I still think pound for pound, these are the 2 best offensive catchers in this league, and the 2 best offensive catchers in this league.
Fouled away to the right side again. That time it didn't get as much air, but it went further right. I mean, the only player that would argue is Sam Cocker, who recently won Rookie of the Year from the IBL. He's the only other one in the conversation. Tyler Plumpton is a very good hitter and a very good defender, but it's mostly Siggles. These guys have a bit more power.
Yeah, I think these 2 are in their own tier when it comes to catchers in this league.
You could argue Cocker's right there.
Yeah.
Castro comes home again. That is strike 3. Another called strikeout, the second one of the game. He got Reichstein ending the first inning like that. And now Candell down on strikes. Stands in the batter's box a little longer than normal.
It looked like Candell was not maybe arguing balls and strikes. I think he was perhaps looking at that with strike 3, but maybe not. Maybe he was arguing whether or not that pitch was a strike or not. But it brings up Jacob.
Go
Newton.
ask him.
Yeah, I can go quickly down to ask him.
Yeah.
Go up the hill. So he'll give me an answer. I mean, he's been around in the league for a while. I'm sure he
knows you.
You'd appreciate that.
Everybody knows you around the league.
Let's not go that far, but I got some friends across the league, I guess. Frenemies.
Here's Jacob Newton. Newton had that home run in Game 3 as he grounds it to Mara at second base. His counterpart, who throws on to first, and they get the third out of the inning. A couple of base runners, but nothing more. It's still 1-0 for the London Majors. This is Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball TV. It's the IBL Finals, Game 4, presented by TD Canada Trust. Welcome back to Maple Leafs Baseball TV. Marcus Connect will lead things off in the bottom of the second inning. It'll be Connect and then Jonathan Solazzo and Connor Lewis. Marcus Connect hit a double in Game 3, went 1 for 2. Facing off against Owen Boone, who had a very good bottom of the first inning. First pitch is strike 2 Connects. He got Venezio to ground out, then struck out Castaldo and got Mara to pop up to second base. Marcus Connect, though, will be a trickier at-bat. He has been red hot in the playoffs, hitting .522. He has 5 homers, including a 3-homer day. 17 RBI in the playoffs alone. That's popped up right to Mullen. Is it going to be fair? Doesn't matter, I don't think. Unless it bounced foul before he made the catch. I think it might have. So Connect remains alive.
Things can change if, the Leafs come back or London finishes off and all that, but it sure looks like if the Leafs take this finals, Connect will be the playoff MVP, and for London, Jacob Newton will be the playoff MVP.
It's interesting. I was looking back at a old Blue Jays program. It was from 2010 or 2011, and there was a future Blue Jays section as Connect fouls that one right back. Just got jammed a touch on it. There was a future Blue Jays section, and one of the future Blue Jays listed was Marcus Connect because he was drafted by the Blue Jays, was in that system. Obviously did not make it to the Blue Jays, but has turned himself into a really, really good IBL hitter and has a lot of fans around Toronto.
And he was a guy at one point that was considered by Baseball America to have the most power in the Jays system, so there's no question what he can do.
Big swing and a miss. Connect down on strikes. 1 away.
And Boone, that velocity really is higher than I really think it's been at any point. I mean, Boone's always been a guy that's been a really solid pitcher for London. He didn't even play professional baseball for a bit in the Can-Am League in 2016. But this is a different Owen Boone. The velocity from him is outstanding. I'd have to say he's touching at least low 90s.
What would you give, and we touched on this in Game 2, but when it comes to the improvements that Jose Arias and Owen Boone have seen this year with the majors, who would you give credit to?
Well, I mean, I think both guys are excellent themselves, but I think the job Mullen's done behind the plate has been excellent too. I mean,
ground ball to first base, it's going to curve foul.
This is a guy that is a pro catcher playing in a semi-professional league. He could easily play for Panama in the WBC coming up if his name was called upon, and I think he's perhaps one of the better catchers this league has had in many, many seasons.
I wonder how many IBL players will be in WBC rosters. I mean, we've mentioned a couple, Adam Kahn, but you look at Dalton Pompey could be in the mix for Team Canada. That's fouled to the left side onto the hill.
Yeah, with Pompey, I mean,
I know he's winding down his baseball career, but it's the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, I still think he's probably done. He kind of committed to that last game in Guelph being his last game, but maybe his brother, who's playing for Quebec right now, the Capitals are in the finals. Perhaps
Tristan Pompey. Solazzo dealing with an 0-2 count. Got on and missed the second strikeout of the inning. Both swinging against Owen Boone. And Owen Boone's stuff is nasty right now.
Well, Boone gets out, Connect to begin the inning on a fastball, and then he gets a changeup on Solazzo. And right now he's throwing the kitchen sink, and the Maple Leafs can't hit that sink.
What is the kitchen sink like?
Well, I mean, listen, for Owen Boone, it's a nice sink, right? It's a brand new 2022 sink. It's quite nice, perhaps top in its class.
Connor Lewis had a good series. It has not been an elite series, especially that last game he went 0 for 4, but he is a very good contact hitter in the middle of the order. He's got some speed, good defender. First pitch, a ball up high, 1-0.
Lewis batting .300 coming into this game, this postseason.
12 for 40 with 3 RBI. Still looking for a potential first home run. Takes a big cut at that one. It looked like a sinker as it came in. Went below the zone. It's one of those pitches where even if it comes in toward the middle of the zone, it looks like it's going to be right in your wheelhouse, and then it just goes right below your bat.
Boone's doing right now what he's up to is doing what Claudio Castaldo did to batters throughout the regular season.
Got him. 1-2. I said got him like that was strike 3 because I looked over at the dugout and they were kind of hyped for him. Owen Boone is a very, very good pitcher. 1-2. Boone trying to strike out the side. Ground ball to shortstop. Moving over Candell, throws on to first, and now the inning is over. A 1-2-3 inning, 2 strikeouts, and a ground out, and the Maple Leafs still looking for their first hit. Heading to the 3rd inning, you're watching Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Taylor Wright will lead things off in the 3rd inning. It'll be Wright and then Kraminski and Mullen. Wright flew out to center field his first time up, facing off against Angel Castro on for his 3rd inning of work. And the first pitch is grounded to third base. It'll be Castro fielding it in front of Solazzo, and he cannot make the play. Jonathan Solazzo rushing in to get that ball was cut off by Castro, who came in, tried to make the play. It would have been a tough play for Castro, tougher than it would have been for Solazzo, but he couldn't make the transfer.
I don't think Solazzo's making that play either, but there's no chance Castro's making that play. So if you're Solazzo, you have to call him off. You have the momentum going in your direction. It's going to be tough no matter what, but that was you have to at least try to make a play on it, and at least we're not able to on that play.
It'll be interesting to see how that's scored, because I would call it an infield hit.
Yeah, I think that's a hit for sure, yeah.
We'll see. We're both looking in at the
it was indeed a hit.
Live behind the scenes. Good call.
I mean, nobody touched it, so you can't really give it.
Well, Castro briefly touched it.
Yeah.
It could have been an E. It could have been an E1. Here's Gibson Kraminski, a late addition to the lineup.
London has 5 hits here in the top of the 3rd inning, nobody out.
Singled and scored in the 1st inning. He has been the lone run for the majors. Runner going as that's chopped on the ground to the first base side, foul. Taylor Wright can run. He can hit and run. He went 3 for 5 with a hit and a run in game 3. Got my games mixed up here. Almost said game 4.
Yeah.
Very possible he has a hit and a run in game 4. He's already got the hit.
And the guy batting now that can potentially bring him in also has a hit in this game. I like that too from Group Chanardad and London. Instead of mixing that lineup up all over the place, just move Kraminski in that 3 spot and play baseball.
Well, it avoids interrupting the rest of the order, right? If somebody's used to hitting 5th, for example, Tricky bounce to Venezio. Nice play over to second for one. Mara to first. And Castaldo can't make the play at first, but they get the lead runner right. Kraminski on safely on the fielder's choice.
Kraminski has plus speed, but he doesn't have the speed of a Venezio or a Keith Candell. That's the play that if you're the Leafs, you have to make.
And Jose Venezio is a very strong defender almost all of the time. He's the most vocal of the defensive shortstops in the league. And right there, that bounce, that tricky bounce it took, he made it look easy. It was not easy.
No, well, he does that all the time. Sometimes I'm thinking he's about to throw the ball to first base and the guy's going to be safe because he's so casual about things, yet the guy's out still by a country mile. But that's just what Venezio does.
You know who was a fielder like that? And Venezio's a better fielder than the guy I'm about to mention, but the kind of casual makes it look super easy. Hit to right field by Robert Mullen. Moving back is Mara, and he makes the catch. Over to first to try and get two. Back safely is Gibson Kraminski, but a great catch by Dan Mara to get Robert Mullen in right field.
If Kraminski got tagged down on that play, it was not really going to be his fault because I think everyone in this ballpark thought that ball was going to drop.
What a play by Dan Mara at second base. Anyway, just to finish my point about Venezio and that kind of looks more low effort than it is, but still, there goes my pen cap, look at that. But still kind of makes the plays the way he should. Remember Robinson Cano, the way he would field?
Yeah.
Kind of looked like he was just kind of taking it easy, but he would also get those hard plays done. I think Venezio is a more athletic fielder than Cano, but
and Cano is second baseman.
It's
Venezio
kind of a similar
shortstop,
style of how they play.
Yeah, there's some swagger to that, no question.
Now, Cano was a shortstop going up through the system, ended up moving to second base as many shortstops do.
I wonder why he was not able to play shortstop for the Yankees.
Well, I mean, you look at Dustin Pedroia as well. You look at Marcus Semien and Trevor Story now. Oftentimes, shortstops are moved to second base in favor of other players.
I think that's quite likely to happen to Bo Bichette at some point. I don't think he's finishing his
I
time
would
in Major League Baseball
agree with that.
as a shortstop.
I mean, even shortstops who play there for a long time eventually move sometimes. You look at what the Giants are rumored to do with Brandon Crawford and shortstop. Granted back to Castro, throw on to first, and that'll end the inning. A good inning for Castro, another couple of base runners, but nothing else. We're heading to the bottom of the third inning, still 1-0 London. You're listening to the IBL Finals on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust.
Second baseman, number 6,
Dan Mara will lead things off for the Maple Leafs in the bottom of the third inning. Welcome back to Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball TV. Glad to have you here for the IBL Finals. This is Game 4 of a potential 7. It's a best-of-7 series. Owen Boone has faced the minimum through 2.
Lots of space up the middle for Dan Mara.
It's a good observation. First pitch up high tomorrow. Mostly contact hitters at the bottom of this order in Mara, Topley, and Carrington. Just trying to get some base hits, streak them together, and get to the power bats. That's a strike.
The Leafs' second baseman he had more home runs than his brother Justin throughout the first month of the season, but that quickly went away after one solid week from the Leafs catcher.
You know who would have let everybody know about that? Dan Mara.
Oh, 100%.
If you have more home runs than your power hitting brother, you're going to let him know, and you're going to let everybody know. You're going to go, hi, I'm Dan Mara. I have more home runs than Justin.
He did. He was quite proud of that, but Justin ended that by mid-June.
But I guarantee you, up until the day Justin passed him, Dan was letting him know about it.
Yeah. I think he knew, though, once Justin did pass him, that was likely going to be all she wrote.
Yeah, that's why you have to make the most of it while it was there. Foul back to the screen. Can't have 2-2. Yeah, you got to let your teammates know when you're... That's why when I was covering Baycats over the summer, when Brandon Hillier technically led the Baycats in average, ignoring sample size, if you're Brandon Hillier, you got to let everybody know.
Yeah, Brad Bissell did that a couple times too. He had like 2 at-bats, 3 at-bats.
Yeah.
He led the team in batting average.
Hi, I'm the Baycats leader in batting average this season. That curves outside, and it's 3-2. Full count to Dan Mara.
The Leafs needed an at-bat like this because right now Boone's pitch count is just so low, and you have to get to that bullpen if you're the Maple Leafs.
That was the 28th pitch by Owen Boone. Here's pitch number 29. Up the middle, base hit Dan Mara. What an at-bat. And he ends up putting it right in the area that you wanted him to.
Yeah, well, he might be the most underrated Maple Leaf, as you said. He gives you a professional at-bat. He makes contact, and he does what he needs to do to get on base for the top guys, and now it's going to be up to Damon Topley to continue it.
And obviously it's kind of a baseball cliche, but for those who might not be familiar with it, when you say professional at-bat, what are you describing?
Yeah, you're not going up there hacking. Like, you've seen some at-bats earlier in this game from some Maple Leafs, and also, Joseph's at-bat for London to begin this game. You're going up there, you're trying to hack at it, a home run, a double. Instead, just take what's given to you, and if that ends up being a base hit, not an extra base hit, then take it, right? And he doesn't cheat you on effort, and it's not going to be an easy out to get.
Damon Topley bunts it back to the screen, showing bunt again. Damon Topley, he did that in game 2. It went very, very well. Ended up getting an infield hit.
Yeah, well, he does that a lot, and he's done that a lot this season, and it puts pressure on the defense. To me, on that one, though, I don't mind going down to first base because London's first baseman is not exactly the best defensive first baseman. He's pretty tall. But at the same time, you might want to go down the third baseline if you do bunt.
You also wonder if he just wants to put the idea of a bunt in their minds and then go back and go swinging.
Could easily happen here.
Topley's hitting .307 across the playoffs. Shows bunt again. This time misses it. Throw on to first, and just it back in time is Dan Mara. That was closer than it should have been.
No question, and now it's 0-2, and Mullen's been a bit of a, he's been fine throughout the first 2 games of this series, but it quite looks like he's arrived now for the London Majors here in Game 3. Or, excuse me, Game 4.
That's bad news for the Maple Leafs.
It is. I mean, he's one of those guys that, the hope would be if he gets going, someone else slows down, but he's such an important piece of it. When he gets going, this London lineup is just so much better.
Righty-righty matchup with the Maple Leafs GM and DH at the plate. Topley swings and misses. Damon Topley down on strikes, 1 away. That is the 4th strikeout for Owen Boone already.
And that's what a guy like Boone can do, right? He has that high fastball that can blow past you, but he also has that nasty changeup. It's really tough to predict what's going to come to you once you get to 2 strikes.
Here's Greg Carrington. And Boone is locked in right now. You see him, he's out there kind of in that pre-pitch stance, staring at the catcher earlier than he needs to because he just wants to get on and throwing strikes even more.
22 strikes, 9 balls. That place.
Popped up very high and very foul. Make a play. Nope. Someone tried.
And I can see Dan Mara taking off in this spot. I'm not a big fan of that. Mullen's been great in this playoff series at throwing guys out. I let Greg Carrington swing and see what he can do.
Good crowd here at Christie Pitts again. We saw a good crowd in Game 2. Again here, a good crowd in Game 4. You got to bring your glove, though.
I'm not a glove guy.
You got to bring your glove. If you're sitting out there on the hill where a foul ball could go, you got to bring your glove. Big cut and a miss from Carrington.
Owen Boone is just blowing fastballs by this Leafs lineup.
Can't know 0-2. Miles, do you bring your glove to the game?
Not usually.
Jeez.
Depends where I'm sitting.
Now, do you usually sit in an area where a foul ball could go?
I'm a 50-50. When I do, I try to.
Okay, so that's a 50-50 answer, but no, he doesn't usually bring the glove if you missed it. That's up and into Greg Carrington, a fastball. Carrington 1 for 4 in Game 3. Gotta bring your glove.
Yeah, I'm not a glove guy. I understand if you're in the outfield, something like that, but I don't know.
Pitch comes home, and that's a big cut and a miss from Greg Carrington. The second strikeout of the inning.
Outside of Claudio Castaldo, Owen Boone might be throwing with higher velocity than any pitcher in this league.
I would love to get the radar on him.
Yeah, wow.
Statcast.
When Dante came up, Dante DeCarry, the former Baycats broadcaster, came up to, Ontario for a couple of weeks, and he had a gun with him, and he was gunning a guy like Brad Gravenson, and I can't remember who was pitching for London that one afternoon, but I believe it was De Los Santos. So he got a gun on those guys, but yeah, we need guns more often here in the IBL when it comes to tracking velocity.
Jose Venezio has a couple of home runs across the playoffs. Was 0 for 5 in his last game, though. Stands in with 2 out in the inning, and Dan Mara at first base. Shout out, by the way, to Dante's former broadcast partner. That's popped up. Moving over and making the play is Taylor Wright, right near the foul line. We'll finish that thought when we come back. It is still 1-0 Majors headed to the 4th inning. You're watching Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust.
Starling Joseph.
Well, Owen Boone has just been unreal through the first 3 innings of this game as we head to the top of the 4th inning. Only 1 base runner against him. That was Dan Mara in the 3rd inning with a single right up the middle. But other than that, he has faced the minimum +1.
Well, it goes beyond that. Matt, the point streak guy up in the press box, just texted me saying the Leafs only have 1 ball out of the infield today, whether it's an out or a base hit, whatever it may be, and it was that base hit by Dan Mara. So Owen Boone is dominating the Maple Leafs the first time through the lineup.
He's making it boring for the outfielders, and that is exactly what they like.
They'll take it.
Starling Joseph leading off here in the 4th inning. It'll be Joseph, then Austin Wilke, and Dan Perrier. Joseph is due. He has had a few weak at-bats in a row going back a couple of games, and he's too good a hitter for that. You need to be really careful with him right now.
Well, he can run into one within one pitch, right? And once he does, look out. In this game, I said it last time, game 2, Reichstein hits that 2-run home run. I'm like, yeah, this game's not ending 2-0. This game might end 2-0 if you don't get going. So every out matters, every run matters in this game tonight.
Castro comes home, and it curves outside the strike zone. Started inside and then kind of curved outside by the time it got to the plate.
And London's dugout got quite loud for that ball 2 call because they were really happy that Joseph laid off that one after not laying off it in the top of the second inning.
You were talking about, quote, professional at-bats, and Joseph, I don't know Starling Joseph, as he fouls that one back to the screen, but I would imagine he'd be the first one to tell you that a few of his at-bats lately have not met that description, and he'd really like to get back there, because he's a guy who usually does take really good at-bats.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that, again, coming in, he was thought of to be this guy with a ton of power, not really a guy that gets on base, but he's done that this season. In the playoffs, it's mostly the guy that you kind of expected coming into the season. He's only batting .255, yet he has 4 home runs. So, and to me, given all these other guys that get on base in this London lineup, that's okay.
He had a really good game 1. As he check swings, they go to first base, and they say he did not go. They say he did not go at first base.
Sidewalk infringement.
Starling Joseph against Angel Castro. That's inside. Can't now. Does not exist because Starling Joseph just walked to lead off the inning. Kind of an awkward way to say that, but I got through it. Powered through.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at Chrissy Pitch too, sometimes, you get distracted.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say things.
I'll be completely honest. Someone walked by us and criticized the fact that we were on the sidewalk, but you play through it.
Listen, if he wants to build us a press box here at Chrissy Pitch, we'll do games from the press box next season.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
Like that box right there, right in front of us, the media box. They should build a second floor.
You can just extend it out and it'd be great.
There you go. Of course, it'd be a big scoreboard blocking our view, but we can make it work.
Yeah.
Castro back to first. Back in time is Starling Joseph. This is Austin Wilke. He singled and made it to second base in the 2nd inning. Still the only run in this game was Gibson Kraminski in the 1st inning, who singled and then made it home on a double by Robert Mullen.
London has a base runner in each inning now throughout the first 4 innings, so has to be counted down, eventually go down, because at some point London's going to have a big inning.
Hard contact to the right side and foul. Wilke's another guy that has not had a great playoff. He is still looking for that first playoff hit. And he went 0 for 4 last game with 3 strikeouts. I have it as no hits on our behind-the-scenes data, but I don't know if that's right, actually. Is that his hit? Got the end of the bat, and it was hit into right field. Making the play is Marcus Connect for the out.
Yeah, it's not correct. I'm not sure.
Can we find the right data to help our viewers out?
Sometimes that happens with point streak. He's batting .282 in the playoffs and 39 at bats.
Yeah, I was going to say, I looked at that data, and we both kind of looked at each other like, no, that's not right.
No.
He's looking for his 12th hit of the playoffs. Outside, throw on to second is in time, and they got him! Starling Joseph thrown out trying to get to second base, and that's the 2nd out of the inning.
A bit surprised that they do that in this spot. Joseph, he has plus speed, but up to bat right now is a power hitter for London. A ball in the gap easily gets Joseph home from first base. It's a little bit surprising, but at the same time, this is a pitcher's matchup right now. They're trying to get as many runs across, as they can.
Testing the arm of Justin Mara. On the ground to the right side, and that gets through, and that stolen base attempt gone wrong proves costly as Perrier on, now with 2 out. That would have got Joseph up to second easily.
And it looked off of contact that was going to be a ground out. I mean, he broke his bat on the play, but it brings up Keith Candell, who continued this inning for London. And what you don't want to do is allow another base runner, because then it brings up Jacob Newton, and that could become trouble for the Maple Leafs.
And you know what happens if Starling Joseph's on the way to second there is it obscures the view of the ground ball.
Yep.
And it potentially makes Marcus Connect take a wrong step or take a little bit longer, and Joseph might have been able to get to third.
Very nice. He could be standing on third base, and you could have guys on the corner with 1 out, but when you run, sometimes you get caught stealing and lose a base run.
Here's Keith Candell. That one gets away from Mara. He'd be at third right now.
Yeah, and potentially home. You never know. Obviously, that's a lot of hypotheticals at that point, but either way, Keith Candell, who can definitely hit a base hit, is a base hit away from perhaps extending London's lead to 2-0.
Now, I got to disagree with you. I don't think he's making it home on
Yeah,
that
that
play.
one, no. Especially in Toronto, Chrissy Pitts, the backstop's not what it is in other ballparks.
Dan Perrier up to second on the passed ball. Takes a big lead. Castro looking back. Nobody's covering. And now comes home, and it's way inside to Keith Candell. Counting at 2-0, and Castro's lost the plate a little bit.
He has 33 strikes, 17 balls, but he's starting to throw some balls in this inning. Last 3 pitches he has thrown outside the base hit has been all balls, so he hasn't really generated much strikes this inning. He doesn't have any swings and misses in this inning.
Up the middle, this could be trouble, but no. Jose Venezio moving to his left, reaches up with his glove hand and makes the catch, and that'll end the inning. Nice catch by Jose Venezio to get his counterpart, Keith Candell. And we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, still 1-0 London Majors. You're watching the IBL Finals on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Jordan Castaldo leads things off in the 4th inning. Castaldo struck out swinging in the 1st inning, 2 for 3 in Game 3 with an RBI and a double. Jordan Castaldo, a member of so many of those Barrie Championship teams, got to the finals last year, did not win. Sounds a lot like someone sitting right next to me, doesn't it?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I guess we have been on the same teams for a few seasons, right? I mean, he came in, I began a week prior to him being traded to the Leafs, or from the Leafs to the Baycats, and then 2012 to 2019, or 2013 to 2019, I should say, with the Baycats, and then last season with the Leafs.
My first stint with the Baycats was pre-Jordan Castaldo.
Sure.
On the ground, right side, foul.
And him coming into the Baycats really ushered in, the championship window for the team. I mean, there's no question what he did pretty much instantly since becoming a Baycat. And then,
Who was their third baseman in 2010? Was it?
maybe.
I feel like Matt Richardson is the right name.
He's mostly a utility player that played some third base.
I'd have to look.
I want to say Sean Matson, also an ex-Maple Leaf.
I think he was.
He was on the Maple Leafs in 2016 when they were in the finals against the Baycats.
The name sounds familiar. I'd have to go back at because I did the recap thing just
Right.
like you did, except
Right.
I did it for the Barrie Advance. That's up and in. Count now 1-2 to Jordan Castaldo.
Yeah, I wrote a few recaps over some seasons for the Baycats.
Just
I
a
guess you could
couple?
say, yeah.
You keep them all?
No, I'm not all that, I don't like looking back at some of the stuff I did in 2014, 15, just because it cringes me out a bit, but the most recent one, the stuff from 2019, I've kept.
Kicks and throws. Fly ball to right field. It's very high and very far. Did Jordan Castaldo just hit a home run? Yes, sir! Castaldo goes deep, and the Maple Leafs tie it up at 1.
Second time through the order, the Maple Leafs need to do something offensively against Owen Boone. Who else but the most clutch hitter in the IBL in the last decade to do it for the Maple Leafs? Castaldo ties the game at 1 with the home run.
Jordan Castaldo goes deep. A double in Game 3, a homer here. And it's a brand new ball game. And that was really the first mistake pitch from Owen Boone all night.
And it may have been a decent pitch too, but sometimes a guy like Castaldo can just make a decent pitch, still leave the ballpark, and he does in that moment to tie the game at 1 for the Maple Leafs.
Here's Justin Mara. Can't miss to Justin Mara either. First pitch outside to him. You can miss there.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, it would take quite the pull by Justin Mara to
You
pitch that
can't.
one in the left.
You can't miss in the zone, is what I mean when I say that
Yes.
to Justin Mara. Kicks and throws. That's hit to right. Back to back. Justin Mara has made it a 2-1 ball game.
And all the kids in the outfield going running towards the soccer or the Little League diamond out in the right. That's the longest home run in right field I've seen at Christie Pitts. And Justin Mara here salutes the Birchman down the third baseline. He knew it was gone the second it left his bat. He looked at the Maple Leafs dugout, and just like that, we got a brand new ball game here at Christie Pitts.
Justin Mara and Jordan Castaldo go back to back, and the Maple Leafs take the lead.
That was an absolute moonshot
That was
from the former Cubs
crushed.
prospect.
And here's Marcus Connect.
When you hear the crack of the bat like that, that ball's likely gone more times than not. And not only was that ball gone, it was way gone.
Way gone. First pitch to Connect.
And we can talk about
Strike on the
a
inside part of the
left-handed
strike zone, 0-1.
We can talk about a left-handed bat at Christie Pitts and everything that comes with that, but that ball's gone in all 8 stadiums in the IBO.
Oh, yeah.
And then some.
That ball's gone in major league parks.
Oh, 100%.
Pitch to Connect is hit up the middle. Moving over as Wilke has a long way to go. In fact, it'll be Jacob Newton going back from second base into the outfield making the catch. Saving Wilke on that one because Wilke wasn't going to get there.
Wilke's playing back, right? Expecting Connect to perhaps do what Jordan Castaldo and Justin Mara just did for the Maple Leafs. But Jacob Newton, who I'd say is likely better off in the outfield, he's not really a second baseman, makes the play that, he had to go a back bit in the outfield and make the catch, but he can do that given his ability to play a bunch of different positions.
And I always preface this by saying I don't like to compare other leagues to MLB too much, but I'm going to do it for the second time today. Compare a player here to an MLB example. First pitch, by the way, to Jonathan Solazzo.
I think I might know what you're going to say.
All right, guess it.
Jacob Newton, Ben Zobrist
Nope.
kind of thing? Okay. Go ahead.
Good call.
Yeah.
Not wrong. But in terms of second basemen who have a lot of range and would be better in the outfield, Mookie Betts came up as a second baseman. There's a strike on a check swing to Solazzo, and the count is 1-1. Now, here's a weird one. I've never seen this in anywhere except this one situation, I don't think. Remember when Cody Bellinger came up and he was a first baseman, even though he can play center field?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. Because you don't usually put center fielders at first base. It's kind of a you don't want to say waste because first base is useful too, but it's not the same skill set.
He's tall enough to play first base and all that, but yeah.
Too much range.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you maybe see a guy play left and first, maybe, but center and first is an interesting one. Yeah.
Don't feel like I've seen that. Anyway, that's irrelevant. Jonathan Salazzo is up.
Salazzo has to get going. You know, we saw Justin Moore break out of his slump, to say the least.
Time for Salazzo to do the same. Fouled back. Have you ever caught one up here? We kind of could.
No, but...
Ooh, that one went all the way across the road. It's still going.
Well, we've seen...
You might want to grab that.
There's been balls this season that have gone and hit windows across the street and what have you, so that's nothing new here. Welcome to Chrissy Pitts, Patrick.
Yeah, but it's kind of on the road right now.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
Person standing next to it might want to pick it up. Make sure it doesn't roll back on the road. There you go. Made a play. Someone else ran by and got it. Error to the person who was standing next to it for a solid minute without picking it up. That's not how it goes.
If you live behind here at Chrissy Pitts, you can have a broken window or two. It's happened throughout this season. You hear a smash. Sometimes ice cream truck driver takes a beating. It happens.
Yeah, I was wondering about ice cream truck driver's gone, by the way.
Yeah.
He'd seen enough. Saw that London home run, or the London RBI in the first, and he thought, nope. But he wasn't rewarded.
It's a cold night for ice cream too, right?
Missed the homers.
He's a fan of this team, though. Tom has been
not a big fan of the team.
But Tom has been got something from him, and he said, "Oh, you're the guy that does play-by-play." I'm not a big ice cream guy, so I've never been.
Maybe he'll come back.
Maybe.
But only with ice cream for himself.
Yeah.
Here's the 3-2 to Salazzo, and it's hit right back. See, if you're a fan of the team, you got to stick it out through the finals game.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe he's gone home and now he's listening to the broadcast, though. You never know.
I hope so. Well, I kind of hope not, because we're kind of criticizing him a little bit.
I'm not criticizing. Maybe you, but...
Thank you for the support, ice cream guy. I will buy your ice cream next time.
A big at bat here by Salazzo. 3-2 count. That pitch count for Boone's gotten up this inning.
Someone walked by the booth a little while earlier, and I asked how the ice cream was, and he said best ever.
What an at bat
by
Salazzo.
That is an excellent at bat by Salazzo. A 3-2 pitch on the outside part, and that is ball 4. Salazzo, the third base runner of the inning after the leadoff home run, and then the second home run right after that. And suddenly, Owen Boone, not nearly as sharp as he looked, Ryan Eakin, through the first 3 innings.
Well, it's not like Boone. I mean, for as great as he's been, he's still a guy that, you go back to the Baycats dynasty, they always hit Owen Boone. They always hit this guy. And I just wonder, like, this Leafs lineup, they hit him last season in Game 2 of the IBL Finals. They didn't hit him in Game 5 and London won the championship. You can get to this guy, but, man, he's got nasty stuff, so when you do get guys on base, you have to capitalize.
Here's Connor Lewis. I don't think that ball that went back on the street is being returned to the club, by the way.
Well, that happened. I mean, we got some ball boys and all that, but you can't ask them to chase down the street, I guess, right?
I mean, you could.
You can, yeah.
Pitch by Boone is fouled weakly to the Majors dugout.
Every ball has a price tag, I guess, though.
Do you think us autographing one would bring the price tag up or down?
Down, for sure, yeah.
Just checking.
100%. A fan gave me a signed baseball this season, though. It didn't mean anything, but signed a baseball.
Just the fan signed it?
Yeah, he's
all right.
Bobby, shout out.
There
Bobby,
you go.
It's in the press box, I think, actually.
Is it in a case?
No.
Hit up the middle, broken bat, so it didn't go as far as it could have. Moving back is Candell, diving, and he makes the catch. A nice diving catch by Keith Candell, 2 away. Lewis got more of that than the fly ball would have suggested, but his bat broke. So it might have been jammed just a touch, or the bat might have been pre-broken a little bit, and it is only a fly out into the shallow outfield.
No, this is a big at-bat, too, for Dan Moore. Not even to hit a home run or hit a ball in the gap to extend the lead, but get on base. And that way Damon Topley's not leading off the next inning. Greg Carrington does, a second leadoff guy for the Maple Leafs.
And, if Dan Mara strikes out or gets out, not only is it the end of the inning and you have to go back to your dugout, you have to go face your brother who hit the home run this inning.
Yep.
You have to face him going, I hit the home run.
Yeah, I mean, that's happened. I mean, Alan Morris has some tough outings on the mound with Justin catching him, but Right now, I think these guys are just folks that are trying to.
Yeah, but in that case,
Yeah.
that's kind of tough, and you feel a little bit bad. But in this
Right.
one, Dan Mara already has the single. Now
Yeah.
your team's
Yeah.
up. You can give him a little bit of
Hit a ball in the gap, yeah.
yeah.
Go 2 for 2.
Dan Mara hit one right up the middle his last time up. That one's up high, pitching around him just a little bit, and it's 2-0. I do understand pitching around him a bit. Dan Mara went 2 for 4 in the last game. Saw the ball well against Boone. Was the only batter to see the ball well against Boone across the first 3 innings.
Yeah.
And Damon Topley, who's been a little bit cold at the plate lately, is on deck.
Yeah, Topley's not been what he was in the first round. The first round, he batted 600. It's kind of tough to beat a team, a guy in the bottom of the lineup is batting 600, but he's always one hitter away himself.
That's a strike.
And the pitch count for Boone, is getting up there now. Patrick, you take control for just.
Do you
a
need
moment.
water just for a second?
Yes.
Okay.
That was brutal.
Dan Mara standing in. Ryan Eakin taking a drink of water. Clears his throat.
I'm back.
Kicks, throws. Inside. Ryan puts the water bottle down.
Yeah.
Takes a big nod. He's ready to go.
I'm back. Just a quick sip. And
You're good.
it's game time.
Clean it
It's
up.
It's the finals, man. Like everyone, all hands on deck.
You're good. The Bushmen are chanting for Dan Mara. Runner on first, that's Salazzo. He walked. He's got average speed. Pitch is a strike to Dan Mara. Crowd doesn't love it. It did look a tiny bit wide. And the Cat have 3-2.
May have been a strike and not framed great by a guy like Mullen, but from the top of the Christie Hill side, that looked to be a free pass for Dan Mara.
Yeah, it must be mentioned that we do not have the world's best angle of the plate.
That is correct.
Kicks, delivers. And that is hit to right field. Runner was going. Moving back is Starling Joseph. All the way back, and he makes the catch up against the wall. And that will end the inning. A couple of big home runs in the inning, and the Maple Leafs have taken a 2-1 lead after 4 innings of play. You're watching the IBL Finals on Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Jacob Newton leads things off here in the top of the 5th inning. It'll be the top of the order. Newton, Wright, then Kreminski. The big hit in the first inning for the Majors was a double by Robert Mullen to score Gibson Kreminski. So even though Cleveland Brownlee not in the order, his spot in the order is still producing well. But the Leafs have a 2-1 lead, and the first pitch from Castro with a lead is a strike, and that zone has widened just a touch.
Yeah, and I don't even see Cleveland Brownlee at this game. Maybe he is. I just can't see him. But
Well, he was originally on the lineup card.
yeah,
So it was a late scratch.
I hope everything's okay with Cleveland.
Yeah, we do. An IBL legend. That pitch too far outside, 1-1. You look at Cleveland Brownlee in the season he has had. It's arguably his best IBL season.
No question.
Yeah, and he is a coach for this team as well. Hit to second base. Mara on a bounce. Throwing on to first. One quick out here as he retires his counterpart. One away. Here's Taylor Wright, the third baseman. Wright flew out in the first inning and had an infield hit in the third. Was thrown out on a fielder's choice.
Pitch count really not an issue for Castro. 36 strikes, 19 balls. That is 55 pitches, I believe.
Are we checking his math? Do you have a calculator? Oh, wow. So you're good at math?
Yes.
Okay. That's Miles Ryback, our behind-the-scenes person for today, working on the graphics. Outside. So you can just hear that and immediately know.
Almost.
Wow. I can't. I hear that and I go, yeah, I trust
I
you.
need the calculator.
Yep.
Thomas is fine with math. Excuse me.
Okay.
But,
I'm not.
yeah.
I did just check calculator. It's just-
Okay. Okay. Good call. You guys are on it right now with the math. Ready comes home, and that's grounded to the right side. On a bounce, Castaldo. Over to the bag. 2 out. 2 quick groundouts in the 5th inning, and Angel Castro, Ryan, has really reacted to having a lead quite well.
This is the kind of Castro I was expecting for the Leafs. Throughout the playoffs, he's been a big strikeout guy. Going to his last game against the Jackets, he was striking a bunch of guys out. Even against the Baycats in Game 1 of Round 1, he was striking a bunch of guys out. But to me, soft contact, ground balls, that's the kind of Castro I'm expecting from the Maple Leafs. And in this game, you've seen. I mean, he's got a couple strikeouts, right? He's got 3 to be exact, but really not the big strikeout numbers that you've seen in the last few games from him.
He has struck out Reichstein, Joseph, and Candel so far. Here's Kraminski. That's a strike. Kraminski ground into a fielder's choice in the 3rd inning. Also singled and scored in the 1st. He's reached base safely both times up.
Kraminski finished that up at a D1 this past spring at Canisius, and a lot of top players in this league have come from Canisius, so he's the guy that all 8 teams in the IBL would happily have in their lineup, likely on a game-to-game basis.
And it just speaks to the depth they have in London with the quality of hitters they have on the bench. I mean, you look at Chris McQueen, you look at Drew Lawrence. Those are guys who would start for almost every team.
Yeah, the McQueen thing's a bit different. He left the team for a bit and he's come back, so he hasn't really seen live baseball in a bit. But no question, they got guys that would be in the lineup.
I mean, Drew Lawrence was the player of the month in May.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and he's a guy that really should be in school right now, but he doesn't want to live that lifestyle. He doesn't want to go down to and play at a D1 or a D2 or a JUCO, whatever it may
now,
be.
He's
so
young enough to still get MLB draft chances, isn't he?
100%. And he's talking about playing perhaps independent baseball at one stage, but not many guys at the age of 20 can play independent baseball.
I mean,
it's tough.
You wonder. You look at Kumar Rocker.
Yeah.
Going to the Frontier League for a little bit as a showcase. You wonder if other prospects are going to do that a little bit and then enter the draft hoping that their Frontier League resume will be enough to get them drafted.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, also that was an interesting case with his people somewhat concerned about his health and all that. But it is interesting here, though. At least have a mound visit.
There's a precedent
Venezio, now. Moore and Castro discussing something. But yeah, I mean, you look at that and why not, right? Why maybe pitch at a summer collegiate league prior to getting drafted if you could pitch against a bunch of ex-professionals and perhaps future professionals?
You also wonder how different the coaches are. Kraminski stands back in after the mound visit.
You've seen guys in this league go right from pitching in the IBL to getting drafted. Daniel Procopio, the ex-Panther, ex-Maple Leaf, was drafted by the Angels in the 13th round back in 2017. So there's some guys that can also do that.
And Custodio wasn't drafted, but he essentially was. That's down and gets away from Mullen. Nobody on base, so no impact there, but it's a ball. 3-1. Custodio entered that Jays organization with Lansing made his way up across the Jays and Orioles organization, ended up in AAA at one point.
Claudio Custodio in 2017 was something special.
And that's a strike. What Angus Roy had with Custodio that one year and then Garces the next year, he didn't have to worry about that too much.
Not bad.
3-2 to Gibson Kraminski. They got him. Kraminski down on strikes. Castro battles back from 3-1 to strike out the batter and dances off the mound. It's a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 5th inning. Heading to the bottom, you're watching the IBL Finals on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. That's Ben Davey on the mic over the public address system. Roger Lajoie there as well.
Game number 1,000 for Roger between the Jays and the Leafs, being scoring games. So yes,
Matt Carrick on our team as well, production-wise. Miles Ryback, Ryan Eakin, Patrick Melbourne here with you. Pitch to Damon Topley is a strike. Topley, then Carrington, and then Venezio. Bottom of the order, and then the top.
Taylor Wright playing quite back at third base. Topley does want to try to lay down a bunt.
On the ground to third, Taylor Wright throws it on to first. Perrier makes the play, and there's one out in the inning.
For the Leafs, you still need more runs in this game. This is not going to be a 2-1 final. London's going to get some runs in this game, perhaps at the beginning. So for the Leafs, you need to keep adding to this lead.
So what we need to do now is, if it's a 2-1 final, we need to make fun of Ryan a little bit.
Hey, well, listen, if you tell me it's a 2-1 final, that means the Leafs win the game. So I'll take some
we'll all be very happy, and I'll make fun of you a little bit, probably on Twitter.
Happily. Anyway, listen, I mean, the skunk thing was what it was, and I thought I could outrun a skunk, but...
We have a skunk graphic. Hold on.
It might be too cold for the skunks. TBD.
There we go. Chance of skunks? We hope not.
Last game out, we thought we didn't have any skunks, and that was true at the ballpark, but at the skateboard park, right behind, they got sprayed. So.
Oh, did they?
Yes. That was a conversation
I was at that skate park pregame a little bit, looking at the different talented skateboarders out there.
Yeah, a couple of the guys were getting into it with the London guys during batting practice, but hey, listen, that happens at Christie Pitts.
Okay, public park.
Yep.
All right.
The London players were embracing it.
0-2 to Greg Carrington. Excuse me, 1-1. That's up high. 2-1.
67 pitches for Boone. I'd say his limit is perhaps as high as 130. London might not have to even use their bullpen in this game.
And that would be a very good thing for the London Majors. Pedro de los Santos is the scheduled Game 5 starter, to my knowledge.
Yep.
And he's a guy that can give you some length, but he's not going to go as deep into a game as Arias or Boone.
If he's at his best, maybe he can. He pitched a complete game in the finals last year against the Maple Leafs in London, and maybe...
But he hasn't quite been the same
No.
pitcher this year as he was last year.
Although I think he's better off pitching in London than he was pitching at Christie Pitts. Arias was expected to pitch that game, but he was sick.
On the ground, third base side, foul. And then if it gets to a Game 6, you would think Arias, and then Game 7, you'd think Boone.
Yeah, Boone Game 7 for sure. It's just going to be a matter of, Arias Game 6 in Toronto. We'll see, but that's how London would love to have it lined up for sure.
That's what it's designed to be.
Yes. And, Christie Pitts is not an easy place to pitch at, but Owen Boone's doing a fine job right now as really perhaps the true ace on this London staff.
The lefty, Greg Carrington, standing in with a 2-2 count. Here it is from Boone. Outside, 3-2. Good at-bat here for Carrington.
At least in the last couple of innings, really starting to have a lot of 3-2 at-bats. Dan Mora had one. Salazzo had one. So there's a few Leafs now having 3-2 at-bats.
That was pitch number 70 for Owen Boone. So he'd have to throw a lot of pitches if he was thinking complete game.
Yeah, well, I think that might be an option.
Kicks and throws. Got him. Carrington down on strikes for the second time today, both swinging 2 away.
This is still a spot for the Leafs, so 2 out, nobody on base, but it brings up Venezio. He gets on base, he can do some stuff with his speed. He's got a ton of power behind him in Castaldo and Justin Mars, so 2 out, but guess what? London had 2 out rally as well. The only run in this game has come from a 2 out hit to begin that rally for them, so an opportunity for the Maple Leafs here with Jose Venezio.
Jose Venezio is 0 for his last 7. Across the last 2 games. Leafs would love for that to change right here. Again, a gap up the middle. Unless the umpire wants to grab a glove. On the ground to second base. Takes a weird bounce for Newton, but he's got it. Throws on to first. And Perrier makes the catch to retire the side. A 1-2-3 inning for Owen Boone. As we head to the 6th inning, you're watching Maple Leafs Baseball TV. It's the IBL Finals, presented by TD Canada Trust. We enter the 6th inning here at Christie Pitts, Dominico Field, as these teams continue the Jack and Lynn Dominico Cup finals here in the Intercounty Baseball League. Angel Castro's first pitch of the 6th is right across the middle for a strike.
Perhaps his toughest inning yet, facing Mullen, Reichstein, Joseph, 3 guys that could quite frankly go back to back to back given the power they have.
They would hate that you just said that right now.
Go ahead.
Popped up, right side will not be playable, at least not by a fielder, and I can't see whether a fan made the play. That's disappointing.
A lot of fans. Oh,
No, nobody made the play.
Yeah.
I can tell you by that reaction right
Slipped
there.
in the hill.
Nobody made the play.
Yeah, he slipped in the hill.
That is an error. No action in the bullpens, by the way. Long pause in the middle of the delivery from Castro. Big cut and a miss by Robert Mullen. And that is strike 3.
Castro stares down Mullen, and Mullen said, well, if you do that, I'll stare you down too, as he heads back to the London dugout. 2
straight strikeouts, 5 straight batters retired by Angel Castro.
In Castro's last 4 batters, he's thrown a first pitch strike, which is always nice. You never want to begin in that bat falling behind.
Here's Byron Reichstein.
Reichstein has been a Maple Leaf killer the last 2 seasons.
He has hit everybody pretty well. I remember when he came back in the middle of the season, the reaction around the league was kind of like, uh-oh.
Yeah, he was not expected to come back. He was playing in the local men's league and all that, but he's back, and there's no question that he is.
Went 2 for 4 with a home run in Game 3. Fouls it away. Big foul. Almost hits a car. Goes across the road. Now on the sidewalk. Someone make a play.
6.
That's just going to stay there. Oh, nope, someone's getting it. There we go.
The coffee's got it.
Yeah, guy with the coffee's got it.
7. Top 6. Yeah.
Made the play. And he might even bring it back. That's inside. Let's see. Is it bringing it back?
Castro was hoping to have that one called a strike. It's
Oh,
not.
yeah. That's how you do it. You bring it back over to the broadcast booth for the broadcasters to autograph it.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, goes to a different fan. And I think it's going back down to the field now. That's how it's done.
Yeah.
Well done. Kicks and throws. That's hard contact and into left field for a base hit. Might go all the way to the wall, but a nice slide from Greg Carrington will prevent it from going, and a quick throw in will keep it as a single. That looked like a sure.
Base runner in every single inning otherwise.
And what does that do to a team's confidence?
If you're London, I think that's not a bad thing, though, because eventually they know they're going to eventually just have that one big inning. I don't think they're getting frustrated or anything. It goes back to that Baycats Leafs game 2 of the first round. The Leafs had so many base runners early on. It kind of says, yeah, we only had one run throughout the first 3-4 innings, but at the same time, it tells you that if we just keep doing what we do, we're going to have that one big inning.
Ready again. That's up and in. When you look at the way he's pitching right now, is there anything that would suggest a shift in a future innings, like something he might want to stick away from?
Yeah, I think he's just got to keep pitching outside, throw that slider effectively. That sinker's been his best pitch in this game. Getting a lot of ground balls. They're just facing a really tough lineup. It's not easy.
Comes home, and that's inside, and it's 2-0.
The biggest thing, though, is, he threw 2 balls in his last at-bat. He's now down 2-0 to Joseph. You can't lose a strike zone.
Joseph, so for his last 5, excuse me, he has a walk in there. Walked his last time up, and then was thrown out trying to steal second. Which, instead of CS for caught stealing, in my book, I wrote out.
There you go.
That's a strike right in the middle of the zone. Nice pitch by Castro.
Nice pitch, but one that Joseph might be thinking, man, why he was able to swing at that one, it might be 3-2 majors.
That's true. A big hit, and the Majors are right back in the lead.
This is a close game. I still don't think the final score of this game is going to be a one-run game.
I think it would be an unwise bet that it'll be 2-1. Fouled away. Didn't miss that one by much. Good at bat here by Starling Joseph. Fans getting into it. Kicks and throws. Oh! And I believe that was a foul. No, they're saying he swung.
That's ridiculous from Joseph.
They're saying it was a hit by pitch, and he swung and he's out.
That is beyond ridiculous from Joseph. He's laying flat on the ground, and the second he hears that's a foul pitch, he gets up. To me, that's garbage.
It's a hit by pitch, but he swung for strike 3, and Starling Joseph is down on strikes, and he doesn't like it.
That, to me, I don't like that at all. They're going to talk to you about it, but that's clear as day what happened. He dropped to the ground trying to sell it. He was hit by a pitch. And the second he was told it was a strike 3, he jumped right back up.
That could be adrenaline, to be fair.
It can be, but he looks pretty fine, and that to me, I don't know. I don't like that kind of stuff. He's totally fine going back to that dugout. I think he knows what he was doing. No one in this stadium was fooled by what he was up to.
The umpires meeting. The home plate umpire, James Lyles, was extremely quick on the call that he went on the hit by pitch, swung through, and that is a strikeout. Action now in the bullpen for the London Majors, Ryan.
There is, and in the Maple Leafs bullpen too, Dylan Jacober is up in it. And they're going to say he's out, and that's just... Oh, really not. Oh, he is. The Roop Chanda has to make sure that Joseph's away so he doesn't get tossed. Mind you, after an act like that, I'm not sure why anyone's defending him. And there's Cleveland Brownlee coming out. I think he's going to get Joseph away from him because...
Also, just to correct myself, that is the Maple Leafs bullpen.
Yes.
Oh.
And the guy's down.
One of the Bushmen has a microphone.
And he calls Joseph the best supporting actor, and that's what it was. That was a lot... That's some Bush League baseball by Starling Joseph in that at bat.
One of the Bushmen has a, what's it called? Megaphone. Oh, that's a game changer.
Take it to the next level here.
That's different. That's a new one for me.
Listen.
Did they bring it out much?
And not only that, but the Mara's mother supplied the megaphone,
no.
So enabled by the Mara family.
You could never.
And now the umpire.
Can you?
James Lyles, the home plate, and he's tossed.
Oh, someone's been tossed from the game.
He's been tossed from this game. He just went to stop talking, and Roop Chandradat's lost control of his team right now. And
Roop Chandradat's been tossed from the game. So Starling Joseph ejected from the game, and now Roop Chandradat giving it to James Lyles. And you can hear some swearing.
Yeah, we'll keep talking, and obviously we don't have a sound system to do that, but that Roop Chandradat lost control of this inning as a manager of the team because what he didn't control Starling Joseph. Cleveland Brownlee did his best to his credit, but Roop Chandradat's the manager of the team, and he didn't do what he needed to do to stop it. And not only that, he's escalating the situation.
And to anybody just tuning in and seeing a manager ejection and a player ejection, we should mention that there was no intent by Jose Arias. It was a pitch up and in that he lost control of. Joseph swung at it, or at least the umpire, James Lyles, made the ruling that he swung at it, and he was mad at the umpire, not the pitcher. So Angel Castro.
Everyone knows this is just delaying the game. And Roop Chandradat, who has a history of obviously arguing with umpires more than most and getting his own way, doesn't get his own way in this one, and he's out of the game. And let's play some baseball here.
Roop Chandradat and Starling Joseph have been tossed from this ball game.
Patrick, to me, this just seems like a whole lot of nothing. If that was a call that we can't see up here, then fair enough. But to me, this is manufactured from London, and now the whole team's clapping, and the only guy that's really showing any leadership in that London dugout right now is Cleveland Brownlee.
Can I stay out of this?
Yeah, happily. I can keep going. I can keep going.
I'm just
No, trust
watching.
me. I can keep going. You can do the play-by-play, and I'll happily chime in, Patrick.
All right. So Starling Joseph down on strikes.
Good cop, bad cop.
Here's Austin Wilke. Wasn't expecting that.
And now we talk about London's depth. Andrew Lawrence can easily come in for Joseph and give a professional at bat every time.
Very
not.
true.
So this is not like a.
I'm amazed Andrew Lawrence has not been in these starting lineups.
It's not like it's a massive loss for London, especially given the way Joseph played in this game.
Pitch from Angel Castro is on the ground, sharply to the left side and foul.
Now, if that happened to a Leaf, Grant Tomarty's coming in, not 100% health. That would be a costly ejection. For London, it's not
I
something
can
you
guarantee
want,
you that after that, Damon Topley and Garrett Takamatsu are not getting ejected from this game.
I think Takamatsu would be okay getting ejected, but no chance about Damon Topley.
I mean,
yeah.
The thing about a situation where Garrett Takamatsu could get ejected is Damon Topley is more than capable of being an interim.
Well, not only that, but it'd be Dustin Richardson, to be honest with you. Who's not,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's all into the whole managing thing now and being the pitching coach.
So if
coaching first
if
base.
Takamatsu does not return as the team manager next season, if he just becomes a player again, which isn't guaranteed, he could be the manager again next season. Is Dustin Richardson a potential manager?
I can see that happen. I think he loves it. It gets to his head sometimes. He loves the whole. He was even joking about it with Andrew White, saying, "How's the walk back to the dugout? Is it slow enough to be a manager?" And all that. He loves it all. But yeah, Dustin Richardson would take over, and that's one of the reasons why Damon kind of stepped aside in that role. Right? If he does get tossed, it's not the manager arguing. This is a lot of logistics when it comes to being the manager in the IBL.
Plus, being a GM and a manager at the same time is a lot.
It is. I mean, there's a few guys like that, right? I mean, Matt Lowe with the Baycats and Rip with London, and there's a few other guys
But
too.
the same thing with it's not only just doing that, but Damon Topley has done that for quite some time.
Yeah.
So having someone else,
2013, excuse me.
having someone else do that, even if it's just a short-term thing, would be probably a benefit.
It's been a relief for him just to be able to step aside, not have to do some of the.
And it allows you to
pre-game
think
stuff.
about your hitting and your playing a little bit more too. He's been able to catch a little bit more.
And you can't catch and manage.
That's inside.
Impossible.
No way. That's inside, by the way. Can't have 3-1. Angel Castro at 76 pitches.
You don't want the tying run to get to second base via a free pass, but at the same time, you can't ease something into Wilke, who has hit a home run at Chrissy Pitts earlier this season. He's in a leadoff spot in London's second to last regular season game in Toronto. He had a leadoff home run in the first pitch of the game, just as Thomas and I were coming on the broadcast.
Looking for hit number 13 of the playoffs, Austin Wilke. And that is ball 4. So Castro loses him on the 3-1 count, and there are 2 base runners on now with 2 away.
No question, he missed him on that. Missed high on that one. It's an absolute ball 4 in London. This is a massive part of the game. A base hit ties the game, and a ball in the gap with Wilke's speed gives London the lead. And of course, a home run makes this a multi-run lead for the London Majors.
Here's Dan Perrier. Has reached both his times up.
The one thing that whole drama, or lack thereof, perhaps did was give Dylan Jacober time in the Maple Leafs bullpen.
It's true. But it also may have affected Angel Castro on the mound.
No question. He's in a rhythm, and you take any pitcher out of a rhythm, who knows what can happen.
Castro had retired 5 in a row after the Mullen strikeout to open this inning.
In fact, Patrick, we saw it in Game 1 against the Baycats, right? There was a skunk delay, and Frank Garces ended up allowing a couple runs in the next half of the inning, so different, but still.
Can't believe we're talking about skunk delays. Like, I'm used to it now, but it's still a new one. Up the middle could be, well, they only need 1, so Mara goes over to Venezio, and that will end the inning. It is 2-1 Maple Leafs over the Majors. The biggest part of that inning was Rip Chanderdat and Starling Joseph getting ejected from the game. We're heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. You're watching Maple Leafs Baseball on Maple Leafs Baseball TV. It's the IBL Finals, and it's all presented by TD Canada Trust. Welcome back to Maple Leafs Baseball TV. What an inning that was. Starling Joseph, who is one of the best players on the London Majors, super talented, really good right fielder, really good hitter, really out of this game right now because he's been ejected from the game alongside Majors manager Roop Chanderdat.
And I see in the comments my ex-broadcast partner, Dante DeCuria, not all that happy with me in the broadcast booth.
Well, you were very...
he's with London.
You had a very strong opinion on that.
He's with Roop now, so that's fine.
First pitch of Jordan Castaldo is a strike going 1. Still Owen Boone on the mound. And now 1-1. Yeah, I'm reading down that chat right now. We're too busy broadcasting, to be honest, to be too active in the chat tonight. But, you know...
Lots of viewers.
Lots going on.
Yeah, sure.
We appreciate everybody, by the way. In a more serious note, we appreciate everybody tuning into this IBL Finals game. That's hit high and deep and foul on the left side.
Oh,
Someone made a play.
No,
there you go.
That's the guy that signed the baseball for me.
Ha-ha! There you go.
Bobby.
Make a play. Bring your glove, get a ball.
That's an excellent catch. Like he's going back.
Yeah, he brought his glove.
Yeah.
That's what
But
you
even
do.
then, that's an amazing catch.
That's what you do.
And now you got some Bobby chance down the third baseline.
How about that? Jordan Castaldo's up, by the way. Leadoff hitter in the inning. Hit a home run his last time up. That was in the 4th inning. Anyway, just to finish my point, we appreciate all of the viewers on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, both tonight and throughout the season. Thomas West and his crew have done an amazing job. Carlos Verde has been on at various points throughout the season. And, of course, Ryan Eakin. That's hit very high by Castaldo, and Taylor Wright moving over all the way into the bullpen.
London's going to say perhaps at least bullpen didn't get out of the way, but that's a tough one.
It's
There's a million guys down
fair
there.
argument,
It
to be
is.
honest.
I
'Cause
don't know how
you're
you call
kind of
it.
going in, both Taylor Wright and the left fielder for the London Majors, just making sure it's right after the defensive changes.
London's going to argue. I think that's mostly just. That's actually their clubhouse manager, Zach, was getting into it with the umpire.
Well, both fielders are going into that bullpen trying to get that ball, and there's about 10 people there.
Yeah, and I think the only way you'll overturn it is like you didn't try to get out of the way because like you can't just make yourself disappear, right? And that's a tough.
I don't know. I don't think you can overturn it, but
Yeah.
I think there's a case to be made.
Yeah. Oh, I
that
yeah.
there's an interference type call there. Because
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just like-
one of them, if not both of them, had a beat on that play.
Yeah.
Anyway, Castaldo has to reset now. Count 1 and 2. That is strike 3. Owen Boone strikes out Jordan Castaldo for the second time today. First time was swinging. That time is looking. Andrew Lawrence, by the way, left fielder. I thought that was the case. That's why I wanted to double check. Lawrence has come in to play left field.
Moving Reichstein to right, and that makes sense. Reichstein
Yep.
has an elite arm, perhaps the best arm of anyone in this league out in right field.
So the new defensive alignment, it's Lawrence, Wilke, and Reichstein in the outfield. Candell and Wright on the left side. Newton and Perrier on the right side. Mullen behind the plate for Owen Boone. That one's just low. To Justin Mara, 1 for 2 today. Popped up in the first, hit a big home run, and I mean a big home run in the 4th inning. And that's a strike. And Drew Lawrence is more than capable of being in
Oh, yeah, he's an
a
everyday
finals lineup.
100%. That's what I'm saying. Like other
But-
teams in the league, you'd be really upset at Joseph for getting tossed. For London, it is,
That's a
but
strike on a check swing by Castaldo. Count 1 and 2.
And you're
by
ups-
Mara, excuse me.
yeah, you're upset. But at the same time, it's like okay, well, we have Andrew Lawrence who can easily play in this lineup. So, as Cleveland Brownlees now in the step of the London dugout doing the managing for the rest of this game.
I mean, you look at Lawrence, Wilke, Reichstein, Joseph. That's as strong as an outfield there is in the IBL. Period.
Yeah. I mean, again, Lawrence is fast. He's got on-base ability. I'm sure as he gets stronger, as he gets older, there's going to be power in that bat.
And we talked about how the import player rule, Joseph has really earned his spot this year, even though he's not in a traditional defensive position for an import player spot. It's a good team. Hits right center field. That's getting down for a base hit. Justin Mara reaches base for the second time today. Was a triple short of the cycle in Game 2, and now has a single and a home run in Game 4.
A double and a triple in his last 2 at-bats, and he gets that triple. Easy enough.
Yeah, just Mara. He didn't really want the
You're gonna lose
cycle
that
in
pen
Game.
today.
I am going to lose that pen. I have another one though.
Yeah.
He didn't really want the cycle in Game 2. He wanted another single.
Yeah.
He wants the cycle tonight though.
Well, listen, I mean, if he gets a cycle tonight, that means a double and a triple. That likely mean a leaf W unless the pitching completely implodes down the stretch here.
Here's Marcus connects.
Look out for Justin Mara to perhaps take off and catch London off by surprise.
Connect crushes one. Way back there. Moving on to his right is Wilke, and it just stays in.
You could tell how Wilke was playing that one, that he likely had it the entire time, but he just hit that to the deepest part of the ballpark. Otherwise, it'd be 4-1 Maple Leafs.
And Owen Boone takes a deep breath because Marcus Connect did not miss that one by much. He got solid contact up the middle, and that was the second hardest hit of the night. It goes Mara, and then that fly out by Connect, and then the Castaldo home run.
So also, he's still due. Had a great at bat last time up, but he's due for a big hit for the Maple Leafs.
Runner goes super early. Throw over to second. What a jump by Justin Mara, who's going to get to third on the throw by Mullen. That was way too high.
I predict many things on broadcast, and 9 times out of 10 I'm incorrect. But that one I did say maybe look out for Justin Mara, who has this new, development of this season when it comes to stealing bases, catch London by surprise. He does. The sloppy play by London, and Justin Mara ends up all the way at third base.
Well, the thing is, if you predict a lot of things,
You-
you're
that-
bound to get a couple right.
If you say a million outrageous things, 10 of them will be correct.
I mean, you take CSM, the talk radio thing.
Sure. Now, I'm not in the hot take business. I like to think my takes are educated.
Are they?
But we'll let the listeners decide. Some of which are fans and some are not, but that's okay. Can't please everyone, Patrick.
That's true.
Don't
That's
try
a
to
strike.
Don't try to please everyone.
I mean, I'm hoping to make an entertaining broadcast for
Yeah.
Leafs fans and Majors fans.
I think we've done that.
I think it's been
Possibly.
very entertaining.
I had a GM of another team reach out today in a message a couple of minutes ago saying great job on the broadcast. So
All right, nice.
we'll take that.
We appreciate that. Big swing and a miss. Jonathan Salazzo is 0 for 1, but he has a walk today. Went 1 for 4 in the last game. That was Game 3. The next game, by the way, is back in Labatt Park.
Coming into this at bat, Salazzo was thinking the extra base hit. Right now, he just needs a base hit.
The next game at Christie Pitts, if necessary, will be on Thursday. That's way inside. I say way. I'm not sure it was as way inside as it looked coming in. I think it kind of caught a little bit more of the middle. Still a ball, though. 2-2. Got the calculator going for the pitch count? That's 87. I could have told you that one.
Yeah, well, once I saw the 60, it always makes it easier,
that's
right?
easier.
Yeah.
There's a fly ball to left field. Moving over is Taylor Wright from third base. It actually didn't get a ton of distance to it.
Al Ross. Nope, can't make the play.
I told you, the big guy who made the catch brought his glove.
Bobby, listen, I mean, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
He's a different breed.
Is he a ball player?
I'm not going to have that conversation about Bobby. Let's just say he's a fan who made a nice catch.
I am unfamiliar with Bobby.
Yeah, no, we'll introduce you to after the game. We'll get home around 3 a.m.
All right. Foul back. Weak contact from Salazzo.
All I'll say is you get into a stop and chat with him. Understand.
You're there a while?
Yeah, and then again, he gave me a signed baseball. It's in the press box. I appreciate it.
But it's not in a case.
No, it's not the case, but he's got some.
So
time
there's a certain level to where you appreciate it, but not that much.
Listen, I mean, I would not tell Bobby that personally. But,
Okay, well he can come back on the stream and listen.
Oh, he's definitely going to. He's a Leaf super fan.
There you go. Spending tomorrow listening to the broadcast. Spoiled on the result, but still loving the process.
100%.
Fouled straight back. Nice at bat here from Salazzo. He's had some good at bats today.
He has, and that's what you need to get out of a slump, right? He's hitless right now with a base on ball, but you keep having at bats like this over time. Maybe he strikes out in the next pitch, but over time, it's going to pay off.
Well, he had a good at bat in the second inning, ended up striking out, and had a great at bat in the fourth, and ended up taking that walk.
That was on a 3-2 count. Count right now is 2-2.
Chanting from the Bushman once again. Count 2-2. Pitch from Owen Boone. And that is low. Count 3-2.
No,
Connor Lewis is on deck.
No argument from Mullen or Boone. Up here it looked like an amazing pitch, but up here it's always tough to tell.
We're at a very elevated angle and a little bit to the left.
Anything straight up here looks amazing.
Have you ever caught a ball up here?
No, we've had a couple of close calls though. It's just hit the grass sometimes.
Okay.
I can obviously make the catch if need be though.
Yes, definitely. Didn't bring the glove, can still make the catch.
Yes. Yeah.
That's you.
Listen, I'm a broadcaster, I'm an athlete. Listen.
You should try out next year.
I've been talking to Tops about it.
There you go. What position?
Left field.
They've got a very good left. I was going to say that, but they actually do have a very good left fielder in Greg Carrington. You've got some competition. Outside, ball 4. Another amazing at bat by Jonathan Salazzo. Connor Lewis 0 for 2. 0 for his last 6, so he's due.
2 quote-unquote cliche professional at-bats by John Salazzo in the last 2 at-bats, and it's going to need to take a hit here from Lewis to extend this Maple Leafs lead. And it's needed. You can't strand guys at third base here in a playoff game when it's 2-1.
Connor Lewis looking for a big at-bat. There are 2 out in the inning. Castaldo opened the inning by striking out looking. Then a single by Mara. He ended up stealing second and making it to third after the throw from Mullen went into the outfield. Connect then flew out and Salazzo just walked.
Boone's pitch count becoming a bit elevated.
It's a left field foul.
Bobby almost made that one, got the glove out, but that was a line drive. That's a tough catch.
Took the wrong route.
Yeah, he did. That was like a Kevin Pillar route in that one. That was not a great route.
Yeah, just misjudged it a little. A pause on the man now from Owen Boone. Connor Lewis, a right-handed hitter in those home whites that the Maple Leafs have worn a lot lately. Fouled back. Majors wearing their gray road uniforms. It's a rematch of last year's IBL finals. That series was one that the London Majors won. Majors hoping to go back-to-back.
Lewis in a tough spot here, 0-2. Can be high fastball, can be change up. Boone at 0-2 is it's not the best spot to be in if you're a Maple Leaf batter.
Count 0-2. Lewis has grounded out and flew out today. Mara trying to distract him, taking a big lead from third base, making a lot of movement over there. Got him. Boone strikes out Lewis, and that will end the inning. Couple of base runners, no runs across. Leafs still have a 2-1 lead. You're watching the IBL Finals on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust.
in the shortstop, number 12, Keith Candell.
To the 7th inning we go on Maple Leafs Baseball TV. Thank you for watching this one with us. Game 4 of the IBL Finals here on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust, alongside Miles Rybach and Ryan Eakin. I'm Patrick Melbourne. Glad to have you with us. Angel Castro back out there on the mound, facing off against
Keith Candell.
Keith Candell. So he grounds that one to the left side, and that's through for a base hit.
And that's a massive base hit because a guy like Candell has elite speed in this league, if not at least high-end speed. And there's a lot of damage that can now happen with Jacob Newton coming up to bat. And there's no question the playoffs that Newton has had for London.
So Candell, who's got plus speed, on at first base, and that'll bring up the top of the order, as you mentioned, Jacob Newton and Taylor Wright. And Newton, after hitting a home run, having 3 RBI yesterday, and having just a great series overall, great playoff, hitting over 500, is 0 for 3 so far today.
He is, but now 4th time through the lineup, you have to wonder what it's going to be like.
Ground ball right side, and it gets caught on Keith Candell.
That is an all-time great break for the Maple Leafs.
That would have been 2 on, nobody out, but Candell is out, going to second base. Newton on at first, 1 away, 1 on.
And that ball was likely hit too hard to get Candell to third base.
Yes.
But still, it'd be first and second, nobody out for Taylor Wright, one of the best bats in this league, who, again, played professional baseball this season. So, what a break that is from the Maple Leafs.
Taylor Wright has an infield hit today, 1 for 3, 3 for 5 in Game 3. Newton came into today hitting .553 with 2 homers and 17 RBI in the playoffs. He is, if the Majors win the series, going to be a consideration for MVP of the finals and of the playoffs.
Yeah, and we can always see maybe, a Taylor Wright or a Mullen or a Brownlee or, someone like that gets a couple of really big hits to close out the series, and maybe that goes into play. But
and who knows what the rest of this series has?
Yeah, that's what
factoring in.
But
all of that, right?
Beginning to finish, it looks like Jacob Newton's going to be the top performer for London from a stats perspective.
Now, that said, it's 2-1 right now. I would tend to agree with you that the final score of this game will not be 2-1.
Yeah, I still definitely believe that.
If the Maple Leafs want to win this game, they might want to add some more.
Yep, no question.
Majors lead the series 2-1. That's hit up the middle. Diving play by Venezio, but it gets through him. And that's a base hit. And that is 3 straight hits to lead off the inning against Angel Castro.
And I thought Venezio was going to at least get one out in that play. I thought he was going to be able to get the ball down, but that ball was hit simply a bit too hard by Taylor Wright. And it brings up Kraminski. And Castro right now not really filling anyone in this London lineup, 4th time through the lineup.
3 straight base hits by Angel Castro. Fans, you can listen to the official podcast of the Maple Leafs on demand on your favorite podcast app or on Maple Leafs Baseball TV. View from the Pits features interviews with your favorite Maple Leafs players, and you can listen anytime. Man, visit right now for Angel Castro, as Justin Mara and a few others out there to talk to him.
Justin Richardson, the now de facto Maple Leafs pitching coach.
They'll be facing off against Gibson Kraminski.
Unfortunate for Richardson, obviously, going back to the last game. 2 out, bases loaded. He gets Reichstein out to end the inning. And then he begins to come up for the next inning. And as he's throwing his tosses, he just felt that oblique again, right? And it's been a tough go at it for Richardson from a health perspective, really all season, but especially in the playoffs. And what a difference a healthy Dustin Richardson would make for the Maple Leafs.
And he came into the season as the likely closer for the team.
Yeah.
Ended up being more of a starter into the playoffs.
Yeah, and you go back to Game 2 against the Baycats, he was great through 4 innings, but just wasn't able to really stay healthy. And that's not to say we won't see him again in this postseason.
Castro ready. Comes home. That's fouled off the mask of Robert Mullen. Goes back to the screen, 0-1. That can sting. Would you ever be a catcher?
No, that would be.
It's a hard job.
I can't think of another outside of being obviously a football player and a wide receiver, tight end, whatever it may be.
A goalie, maybe?
Yeah, even then.
So basically all of football.
Yeah.
And that's a strike.
There's always a ton of respect for what all these catchers, like at any level, can do, right? Whether it's AAA, big leagues, semi-professional baseball, whatever it may be, because that is a grind.
A big swing and a miss from Krasminski on that one. He struck out in his last at-bat, also has a single and scored in the first inning. That's still the only run so far for the London Majors.
If Krasminski gets on, this might be a really big inning for London because
you were worried about the big inning.
Mullen's coming up. I think if London wins this game, it's going to be a big inning, not 1 or 2 runs. Mullen's on deck for London. You have to get Krasminski.
Castro trying to avoid that big inning. Kicks and throws. That's strike 3 called! Outside corner, and they get Krasminski on strikes.
Krasminski doesn't like it. Impossible to tell up here if he has a case or not. From up here it looked fine, but up here it looks straight. So either way, Krasminski doesn't like it. But this inning is not over with perhaps pound for pound the best pure hitter in this league now coming to the plate, and a catcher, another catcher himself, and Robert Mullen.
And he has an RBI double today. Robert Mullen, 1 for 3 in Game 3, had a walk.
I'm not throwing a fastball in this at bat. Might have to be a lot of sliders.
1 for 3 with an RBI, but that's a RBI double today. First pitch, a strike to Mullen. There are 2 on. There are 2 out. A ground ball hit Keith Candell on the leg as he was going from first to second. That was the first out. Krasminski just struck out. That was out number 2. Newton on second, Wright on first. And now James Lyles calls time. This is potentially the moment of the game. Here it comes to Robert Mullen. There's a strike.
Strike zone's been expanded, it's no question. And it's telling that a guy like Mullen's maybe not all that happy with it, given he's a catcher himself, but now it's pitch number 87 for Castro.
The upper outside quadrant of the strike zone to the right-handed hitter.
I want to say go back to it, but Mullen can easily pull something past Castaldo at first base and perhaps clear the bases. I'd be looking at going slider array.
0-2 from Angel Castro trying to get out of this inning. Up and away. Ball 1.
Just a bit too far outside from the other ones that Mullen himself were a bit too far outside.
If the inning is extended, it'll be Byron Reichstein. He's on deck. Claps of support, mostly from Angel Castro. Up and away again, tried to get him to chase, now even at 2-2.
59 balls, 30 strikes. As Dylan Jacober continues to be up in the Maple Leafs bullpen.
Jacober was excellent in Game 2 at Christie Pitts.
If Castro can get out of this inning, he might look at a 6-out save from Franklin Hernandez. We'll see if he can get out of this inning, though.
Ready on the mound. Kicks and throws. Again, up and away. They've tried to get him to chase with 3 of the same pitch. It has not worked, and now we're full. It's 3-2 to Robert Mullen.
Well, Mullen hasn't even looked at or swung out a pitch in this at-bat. He looked at 2 called strikes that he wasn't happy with, and now 3 straight called balls. You don't want to ease something in here and make it a 4-2 game, but at the same time, Byron Reichstein's on deck, and we all know what he can do against the Maple Leafs, especially in the finals.
Mullen has struck out today. He's also popped up and hit an RBI double.
Mullen is a tough guy to strike out. Perhaps tougher than anyone in this league.
Here we go.
Not starting a new rule.
3-2 to Robert Mullen. Runners go. It's down and away. Ball 4. And after 0-2, they walk Mullen to load the bases.
And this is an interesting spot for the Maple Leafs. This is a spot that you'd love to have a go-to lefty that can come in out of the bullpen and shut things down here against the lefty Reichstein.
And I apologize for making it about the Baycats here, but I've watched them the most this season in the IBL.
Yes.
And the Baycats, you would think Aiden Russell.
Yeah.
So the Leafs would benefit from having that kind of pitcher.
And they have Adam Mara, but a hit and miss in terms of that, and that would be the biggest spot of his time here in the IBL, so it would be really tough. This is not easy because with one swing of the bat, Reichstein can hit a grand slam and make this game a 5-2 London lead, and he can do that. He can definitely do that, but at the same time, he can also do a base hit that can give this London team a 3-2 lead. And with the way Boone's pitching, the way Fernandez is pitching out of that London bullpen, the way Carrington has pitched all season, that could be a tough hill for the Maple Leafs to come by, even if you don't allow Reichstein to come up with a huge hit here, whether it be a grand slam or even a double.
Newton at third, Wright at second, Mullen at first, Byron Reichstein standing in against Angel Castro. First pitch from him is swung on and missed, 0-1. A pitch up in the zone, and he blew it by Reichstein. A bigger lead at second than anywhere else. Nowhere to put Reichstein. Here's the 0-1. Castro pauses in the middle of his delivery, now comes home. And that's up high, 1-1.
Pitch number 93 for Castro. And what's likely to be his last inning given the danger he's in. If he allows a grand slam or something here, he might just finish the inning off.
Dylan Jacober has been warming up in the bullpen for quite some time. He is ready to come in if asked. 2 outs, bases loaded. Castro versus Reichstein. Here it comes from Angel Castro. And that is popped up, out of play, foul. Somebody with a glove almost makes a play.
That was an awful attempt.
Yeah, that was not great, was it? Thought about getting up before.
That was a hat, not even a glove.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Well, bring your glove. That's why I didn't make the catch. Yeah, that's a hat. Back to the action. Castro focusing in. Doesn't like the baseball. Gets a different baseball.
Sometimes I say, maybe go this pitch, go this pitch. I have no idea what you throw Byron Reichstein here in a 1-2 count.
That's why it's Justin Marr's job.
Yeah. He's better at it than I like to think. But even he might be thinking right now, I don't know what to do.
Here we go. Castro kicks, delivers. That's popped up, and that's out of play again. Onto the hill. Count now 1-2. Remains 1-2.
Colbert obviously ready to go in the Maple Leafs bullpen. He's been up for around, I'd say, Patrick, half an hour at least.
Yeah, he's good to go.
Franklin is somewhat beginning to stretch in that Maple Leafs bullpen.
We're in the top of the 7th inning here at Christie Pitts. Angel Castro trying to keep it a 2-1 Maple Leafs lead. And stepping out is Byron Reichstein, and Mara will go out to relay the signs. Keep in mind there is a runner on second base right now, so the signs, they'll be thinking about not wanting to tip pitches. Taylor Wright will be looking in to try and give hints to Reichstein. That's just part of baseball, right?
100%. Yeah, that's not cheating or anything like that. Well, I guess technically it is, but it's not.
There's no rules against that.
And there shouldn't be. Absolutely not. If you don't want to allow a guy from second base to spy on signs, then don't put the guy on second base.
So that's why Mara going out to Castro. Now Castro kicks, comes home, outside, and it's 2-2.
And Castro having trouble a bit right now at finishing off batters. Before you know it, though, you might have to ease something in that could become one big hit. But at the same time, you can't walk him. There's nowhere for him to go.
In the inning, 3 singles and a walk against Angel Castro. Trying to overcome that and keep it scoreless here in the top of the 7th inning. Long pause. Now comes home. Swing and a miss! Castro gets him on strikes. Jumps up and down. And that is how the inning ends. Heading to the bottom of the 7th inning. Still 2-1 Maple Leafs. You're watching Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Welcome back to Maple Leafs Baseball TV. What a half inning that was from Angel Castro, Ryan Eakin.
That was quite something. 2-2 count. Strikes out Reichstein to get out of the jam. Should be interesting. The Leafs have this habit in the playoffs of really letting Castro ride. And he's under 100 pitches. I can see them trying to do that in the 8th inning, but personally, I'd be going for a 6-out save for Franklin Hernandez. Do I think the Leafs do that, though? I do think they bring Castro back out.
Now, Castro, a guy who believes he gets better the further he goes into games.
He does, and he's also a tough guy to say, give me the baseball to. But at the same time, if you're Tyke Matthews, if you're Topley, if you're Dustin Richardson, I don't know. I'd go with Franklin. He can do a multi-inning save if need be. But the easiest solution to all that, Patrick, is to have some runs, perhaps for Castro.
If you're Dan Mara, you're down in an 0-2 count to lead off this inning. It'll be Mara, then Topley, and Carrington. Kicks and throws. That's inside, 1-2.
Although I say it's easy, but Owen Boone coming into this game, an ERA well under 1. It's kind of a tough guy to get runs on.
Had a nice rendition to take me out to the ball game through our special PA system tonight. Shout out Ben Davey.
We needed a PA system, and listen, Ben came up clutch, and we'll see. Hopefully it's a game 6, and we can bring him back for that too, but at least have to do some business prior to
You can't steal him
happening.
from Baycats TV, sorry.
Well, listen, I mean, you never know. You never know. You can always make a trade.
Owen Boone comes home and it's fouled straight back. Still Owen Boone out there on the hill. He has been out there for 99 pitches now. Still no action in that Majors bullpen, although there's a catcher standing up there on the mound just in case
It looks like someone might
something
be
gets started.
beginning to toss. I want to say that's Braden Farrington with the ball. I talked to Farrington prior to the game today and told me to keep up the great work and stuff, so...
Did you ask him any insight into his...
No, I was talking to him a bit about some stuff, but overall I didn't want to... it's the finals, right? You want to
foul back.
Don't
Yeah,
wanna-
you don't want to get any info in the finals.
No, but I mean, I don't want to ask, and put him in a tough spot, and you're just talking.
It's kind of
prior
your
to
job
games.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Some
but
is definitely.
he engaged in the conversation. So.
Someone is now up in the Majors bullpen.
Farrington always has the same spot
see
though
the
in
number.
the during batting practice. Always the left field line, and
Okay.
he got into a bit with the skateboard guy who.
Maybe you should ask him a tough question next time.
I got some stuff out of him, but
There you
listen,
go.
I mean, he's the guy that likes to talk, so that's always easy to do.
Like if you come in today, how many innings you good
Yeah,
for?
yeah.
There you
Like, what's
go.
the plan? Like, once Boone's out, who comes in afterwards?
You should go ask him.
Yeah. Oh, let's go down. I'm sure Roop's like just outside the dugout right now. I can go ask him. Like, Roop, just fill me in.
Is it Roop's call still?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who enforces like how far the manager has to be.
I think it'll depend on the umpire.
Right. I still think Roop would be perhaps texting Cleveland. I mean, how would he not? Right. I mean, that's the benefit of the Leafs. Still, they got multiple managers. That guys can take
Now, here's a
over.
question for you. Cleveland Brownlee is here. He was a
Yes.
late scratch because he was under the weather.
Sure.
Is he someone who could be pinch hitting late in the game if they're down by 1?
I mean, I don't know. I personally have no idea what the health of. Maybe it's an injury. I have no idea. But perhaps, and that would not be a bad option.
Right field. This one could stay playable. 3 running for it, and it's going to land in the bullpen out of play.
That was pitch number 102 for Boone, and that Majors bullpen is pretty much empty, relatively speaking. So when
There's someone throwing
Okay,
now.
yeah, okay.
It's. I won't blame you for that one. It's a little
Yeah.
out of your viewpoint.
It is, yes. But Boone doesn't look like he's getting any more tiring. But a great at bat here by Dan Moore, pitch number 8 of this at bat.
Up the middle into the outfield. No, it's going to be played by Keith Candell at shortstop. And that's a long leadoff at bat in the inning.
It is, but you need base runners because you need runs. And if you're the Maple Leafs, you need something from the bottom half of this lineup and the top half. Damon Topley is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Gray Carrington is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Venezio, as you mentioned earlier, Patrick, is 0 for 3.
But if you get the pitch count up, have long at-bats, then it's more likely the hitters behind you are going to have
Yep.
those opportunities for hits.
It is, and that's true, especially get to that bullpen, although, as I said, Farrington and Fernandez, 2 great relievers in that London bullpen.
Mara's up over 100 pitches now, so you wonder if the mistake pitches start becoming a little more frequent. He's only had 3 mistake pitches today. all of today.
And really, who knows? Like, even a couple of those pitches that they could have been fine pitches, but two great IBL batters got them out, so hit the balls out. So
Castaldo hit a home run to lead off the fourth, and then Mara went back to back with him. But the second hardest hit today was actually a fly ball into deep center field by Marcus Connect.
Yes, yeah. And Connect just missed that one. That was in the furthest part of the ballpark. Otherwise, it'd be 3-1 Maple Leafs.
Mara had the hardest hit ball of today. He hit one out that would have been out, I think, in all 30 MLB ballparks.
Yes.
Of course, we don't have StatCast data yet in this ballpark.
This is coming to Christie Pitts. It's coming. Trust me.
I tell you, when we get full TV coverage here, it's going to be there's going to be sights and sounds around the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a unique ballpark. There's no question about that.
There's a guy in a bike that has like lighting all around the bike, like you would see in a mini golf.
And he's gone too now. He's like
a glow in the dark mini golf
It's
thing.
like cutting edge. He came from miles away.
You could still see it. He's over in the next park.
if he comes back, we almost think that the batters won't be happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's that bright, isn't he? Topley, 2-2 count. Got him. Boone still got that fastball going.
The left fielder, number 15, Red.
It is his 8th strikeout of the day, matching Angel Castro. I would have thought more, to be honest.
Seems like I think early on he had a lot of strikeouts. Perhaps that dipped off in the last few innings, but nonetheless.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
5 of them were in the first 3 innings.
Right. Taylor Wright comes a bit in at third base as Carrington looks to try to begin a two-out rally that is perhaps a necessity for the Maple Leafs.
Up high to Greg Carrington, 1-0.
Jacober has sat down that Maple Leafs bullpen. If he needs to get up again, he can get up pretty
Someone
quickly,
else
but
throwing, though.
That is Franklin Hernandez up in that
There
Maple
you
Leafs bullpen. Will he come in to begin the 8th inning? I'm not sure. My gut tells me it's going to be Castro.
How often's your gut right?
Listen, I mean, my gut...
Should we trust you here? Would Thomas trust you here? Thomas in the
would he
dirt, by
trust
the
me?
way.
Thomas just lets me say things.
Got to challenge him, Thomas.
Yeah.
I know you're listening. You got to challenge him. You got to make him think.
He might be listening.
I hope he's listening. He's calling the next home game.
He is. Oh yeah. He'll go back and see it for sure. I think to prep. Maybe have a phone conversation with me to get ready for it. But we hope there's a game 6 back in
I might come to game 6 and bug you guys on the broadcast.
Let's hope there is a game 6. But we'll happily have that.
Kicks and throws. That's in the dirt.
And if you're Carrington, you might have to look at the next 2 pitches here, right? Make him throw back-to-back strikes, especially after ball 3, which wasn't even close.
Count 3-0 to Greg Carrington. Would you guys hate me if I did that? If I hopped on and just bugged you for...
Well, listen, here at Christie Pitts, we've been heckled at in the past, so it would not be anything
I don't know if I'd heckle you.
Yeah.
I'd just call you out on your wrong...
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
3 balls, no strikes. And there is a strike. You're right. He let him do it. I think you're absolutely right that he'll just let him find the strike zone.
Now, maybe 3-1 if you get something you really like, you swing at it, but you can't be chasing anything here 3-1.
It's a good bet. 3 balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch from Owen Boone. The starter for the Majors still in this game, and that's ball 4. It's a walk to Greg Carrington with 2 out.
And if I'm Carrington, I take off perhaps as early as the first pitch, because if he gets out, then you have 1, 2, 3 coming up in the 8th inning. As Brent Rails, the Majors acting manager now, I guess it's not technically Cleveland Brownlee, comes out for London to talk to Boone. That might just be to buy time for the bullpen as well, but also perhaps say just that Carrington might be taking off in this at-bat, knowing that if he gets caught out stealing, then you got 1, 2, 3 for the Maple Leafs, and if he does steal, then obviously the Maple Leafs are a base hit away from extending this lead.
Jose Venezio is cold at the plate right now. He's 0 for his last 8, going back to the last game. He has 2 groundouts and a pop-up.
Yeah, it's been soft contact. He's still batting .333 in the playoffs coming into tonight's game. But no question he's due for a big hit. But I just think Carrington has to take off at some point in this at-bat.
Will it be right away?
It's a big lead.
He does not go on the first pitch, and the first pitch is up high to Jose Venezio. And Owen Boone, as his pitch count goes up, he is finding it harder to locate. And you know Jose Venezio is a smart hitter and a guy who can make him throw strikes.
That was a great pitch not to run on because that came in with tons of velocity.
Pitch from Boone. Outside, ball 2. He went 3-0 to Carrington. He's now gone 2-0 to Venezio.
2-0, I don't think you can still because I think a fastball's coming in here 2-0. And I don't think you want to run against Owen Boone's fastball.
Let's see if the Leafs coaching staff agrees with you. Do you know who's coaching first tonight?
That is UC Tararoka.
Tararoka played with the Leafs across the season. Counting at 2-1. Kind of cool that he's stayed on as a coach.
Yeah, he lives right across the street. So that's nice. Hopefully it's not one of the houses that's been a victim of a foul ball this season. And obviously Garrett Takamatsu.
Big baseball guy. Played pretty well for the Leafs this season.
Especially as a bat. Tons of speed.
Is he a guy that could come back maybe next year?
Yeah, he was only filling in until obviously the Leafs had all their import spots filled, right? So once Franklin Hernandez came, because it was Richardson was here first, and then Venezio, and then Castro, and then Hernandez.
So he could maybe play a similar role next year?
Yeah, if the Leafs have visa issues for a bit of time, but I think he'd be a decent option for any team that needs a guy to fill in for a bit. That's
Yusei Taraoka we're talking about. Hit up the middle, right back to Boone, who's going to underhand toss to first base. Dan Perrier makes the catch, and that is how the 7th inning ends. We head to the 8th. You're watching the IBL Finals on Maple Leafs Baseball TV. It's presented by TD Canada Trust. We'd like to thank each of the 330 viewers who are watching IBL Finals Game 4 right here on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust with us. Our lineups earlier today.
And it brings up Andrew Lawrence for his first at-bat in this game. And he acts as the second leadoff guy here in the middle of this London lineup. It's not a bad guy to have lead off the 8th inning.
Drew Lawrence hits it fair on the right side. That's going to be extra bases. Going to second, diving in. He's got great speed, and that is a leadoff double.
And it looks like, he's just going to his first base coach to take off his stuff. I was going to say he's probably not coming down as a pinch runner, and that's going to do it for Angel Castro, who I think came out for one batter too many.
I should mention, by the way, just finish my point, the lineups earlier brought to you by Finney Real Estate. We'll have our Penny's Player of the Game a little bit later on tonight. Angel Castro exits to a standing ovation. And we have our Woodbine call to the bullpen. We'll be back in just a moment, right here on Maple Leafs Baseball TV. It's right there. There's a skunk on the field. We're here. It's our Woodbine call to the bullpen. We're back a little bit early because there's a skunk here.
It's not on the field, but it's right behind the bleachers down the third baseline, and the skunks are out here at Christie Pitts.
New pitchers Franklin Hernandez. Across 2022, both playoffs and regular season, he has a 1.82 ERA. And it says we hope not for skunks in the top left. We're seeing one. It's not up near the broadcast booth. It is near some of the fans. So I would suggest those fans find a different area to sit.
London might bunt this baseball. I don't think they will, though, with Wilke.
Oh, yes, there's a ball game going on. Big swing and a miss from Austin Wilke after the leadoff double from Drew Lawrence. It'll be Wilke, then Dan Perrier and Keith Candell. The runner on second base, Drew Lawrence. Hernandez comes home. That's a strike. It was on the inside part of the strike zone, and it's 0-2.
Nobody's up in this Maple Leafs bullpen, so it's going to be Franklin Hernandez's game to take home or lose. It's in a tough spot, obviously, and lead off double to lead this inning off. Nobody on base, or nobody out, I should say.
There is action in the Majors bullpen right now. Kicks and throws. Weak contact up the middle. Could be a tough play for Venezio. Grabs it, throws on to first, and they get him. Great play by Jose Venezio. Up to third goes Drew Lawrence.
But you'll take that if you're London.
So Drew Lawrence up to third. Franklin Hernandez dealing with a runner in scoring position, but he has retired Austin Wilke on the ground out.
That's one of those things where both those teams might be okay with that. Toronto gets an out, London gets to 90 feet, and now Franklin Hernandez, who's this big strikeout guy and has been all season for the Maple Leafs, needs one in this spot here as the infield comes way in.
Now here's a question for you. Dan Perrier has been on base a couple of times tonight.
No, I'm not walking him.
Keith Candell is 1 for 3.
No. We're not even considered with Candell's speed, on-base ability, power. I would not put myself
You
in that
set
spot.
up the double play, though.
But it's tough to turn tail on Candell. I personally would have no interest in doing that. And that's not...
First pitch down low to Dan Perrier.
That's not dismissing what Perrier can do, because this guy he has massive power. And I mean, he's hit some moonshots this season. And at Christie Pitts, he might absolutely destroy one. But I still don't think you can put on Perrier and then allow
You go
Candell
for
to
the
come up.
lower contact, higher power Perrier.
And there might be some swing and miss in Perrier's game, but he hasn't really shown it, has he?
I mean, there's a lot of
393.
contact in Perrier's game, too.
Oh, yeah, he's
393.
393, yeah.
It's just that kind of player archetype that Perrier is, but even then, he's still a higher contact guy than you would expect. Here it comes from Hernandez. Big swing and a miss. 2-1. Not a big lead at third from Drew Lawrence. Hernandez comes home, fouled away, even at 2. Now looking for the strikeout against Dan Perrier.
No question with 2 strikes. Maybe a ground ball that goes right to an infielder. And the infield's playing way in here. Perhaps 2 in for my liking. You don't want to allow the go-ahead run to get on base, even if it means the timed run comes in.
Fans behind Franklin Hernandez. And that is way foul.
Whoa.
Onto the sidewalk. Takes a big bounce. Somebody go grab it.
That was right at some fans who sit on the benches.
Yeah, how about that?
That was crazy.
Now, there's a camera and 2 laptops up here.
Yes. Yes, there
The
is.
ball comes up here.
I'll make the catch. Relax.
You'll make the catch, okay.
I play in the outfield. Like,
I'm saving my laptop.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, they say he went.
I don't know about that one.
Perrier strikes out.
The Cleveland Brownling's going to come out. Unlike Starling Joseph, I think London's got a case on that one. I mean, again, we can't really tell up here on the top of the hillside, Patrick, but look, I have to say Cleveland Brownling's done an excellent job at keeping his guys in control.
He's a leader.
There is no question.
He is a leader.
I'm not sure how many guys on London may be tossing this game right now if it was not for Cleveland Brownling.
Well, Roop Chanderdat and Starling Joseph have both been
Well, no one was
ejected from
controlling
tonight's
Joseph,
game. Joseph
Even
was very unhappy about a call on a strikeout that was a hit-by pitch. It hit him in the shoulder, and then the umpire said he went around on the swing, calling it strike 3, and he was ejected from the game.
Leafs not out of danger yet. Keith Candell has had one big hit after another the last 10 years in this league.
That's down low. 2 out. Here's Keith Candell, as you mentioned.
Candell's playing in Guelph. He's playing in Kitchener. He's playing in London. He's playing in Burlington.
Righty-righty matchup.
He's gone on base no matter what team he's been with.
Candell hitting .289 in the postseason coming into today, and he hits that one very hard and very foul down the right side. Candell struck out in the second. He lined out to short in the fourth, and he singled in the 7th inning and was out on a ground ball that hit him in the field of play.
That could have been a big inning for London if that was not an out.
Absolutely. 3 singles and a walk in that inning from Angel Castro. Managed to get out of it without allowing a run. Fouled away again.
Castro, you mentioned that line. He only got 2 outs that inning, really, when you think about it.
Angel Castro, when all is said and done today, exited only allowing 1 run. The Drew Lawrence run at third would be credited to him. So it's not quite all said and done yet.
Correct. in the case of that one, was that a strike? It's almost impossible to tell given that Justin Morrow dropped the ball. No ability to frame a baseball when you drop it.
And that's why a lot of catchers end up on that one knee stance to give themselves a little bit more stability.
Yeah, Damon Topley's big into that, right?
A lot of catching instructors are now. That's a very modern technique. We saw Marcelo Cass doing that a lot. Up the middle, Hernandez to first, and that retires the side. They strand the runner at third, and we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Still 2-1 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're watching the IBL Finals Game 4 on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Jordan Castaldo will lead things off.
And this is correct managing from London, right? 2 lefties in a row. If you bring in a lefty, that just makes sense to me in Fernando Fernandez.
There we go. Fernando Fernandez into the game. Tell us a little bit about Fernando Fernandez.
He began the season, go back, he was with Guelph in the 2019 season, but then prior to that, though, after that, he began the season with London. He was tough. He was having a tough go at it. I was actually talking to Carrington about him.
A high fly ball right up the middle. Moving over is Austin Wilke. Under it, making the catch. And that is the first out of the inning.
I was talking to Carrington about him earlier, saying like he was unusable at the beginning of the season. He almost blew a game, a big lead that London had to begin a ball game earlier in the season, and Farrington had to come out and save the day. But since that point, really since mid to late August, he has been, I shouldn't say late August, mid-August, he has been outstanding for London. One of the best relievers in this league, if not the best reliever in this league. He could quite frankly be a starting pitcher in this league. And he had a massive outing, a 9-out save against the Maple Leafs.
Got the save in Game 3 of this series. Coming in relief of Jose Arias. First pitch to Justin Mara is strike 0-1. Castaldo was retired on 1 pitch. Someone very happy about that strike to Justin Mara. Probably a Majors fan.
Yeah, I think it was maybe the raffle draw. Someone won the raffle. But hey,
I'm joking.
Propaganda is a great thing, Patrick.
God. Fernandez comes home and it's outside. Can't know 1-1. Was it a raffle winner?
Yeah.
There we go. Not a Majors fan. Raffle winner. You were right.
I'm often in, Patrick. I often did. Quote me on that one.
You should make that your Twitter bio.
Listen, I'm often right, yeah. A little bit egotistical, I guess I would be, but...
Fouled away. By the way, you can find me on Twitter at Patrick M. Baycats. I am normally one of the broadcasters for the Barrie Baycats, primary road announcer, and in the booth for home games doing booth analysis. Thomas West will be back in the booth for a potential Game 6, if necessary, here at Christie Pitts. I'm sure Thomas is looking forward to getting into the IBL finals mix.
They're hoping that, the semifinals game that he called was not his last game.
That's outside from Fernandez to Justin Mara.
I've always thought ever since Castaldo became a Maple Leaf that the Leafs automatically have the loudest dugout for the rest of the season. But
that Major's dugout is not quiet.
Yes.
Do you like a loud dugout?
No, I'm not. Like even the Castro stuff, I'm not a huge fan of it. I always look at,
They go to third.
I go back to the Baycats dynasty, and often they face the Panthers in the finals. Right in the Baycats dynasty, you can hear a pin drop.
They say he didn't go, by the way, 3-2.
And that Panthers dugout was always so loud, and every time they get ahead in the game, they always be so loud. I'm not a big fan of it, but London's always done it. That's always been their way of doing things, and it's been, it's something they do, and it works for them. But personally, not a fan.
Got him. Mara down on strikes, 2 away. Fernando Fernandez has retired the first 2 with only 7 pitches.
And the Castle thing for the Leafs is at least had to embrace it, because otherwise you'd be driving yourself nuts with the down the stretch and into the playoffs of the Maple Leafs. But
now you were in the dugout for that Baycat series. I was up in the media booth doing play-by-play.
Yes.
What was it like being down there in that dugout?
That game was totally fun. The game that he was really, perhaps you can label him as off the walls, was that game where the Baycats and Leafs had a benches clearing incident, where he was really into it that night.
Pitch is just going to get the strike zone. This is Marcus Connect, who, in a rare day for Marcus Connect, he's 0 for 3.
Yeah, and this is one matchup that might be in his favor, lefty on righty, but the way Fernandez is pitching right now, I'm not sure if that's to be true, but he did have one really long fly out, but that's been about it for Connect.
He did. He had the second hardest hit ball of today.
Yeah, because Castaldo's home run was not...
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. It was not deep. It was deep.
It just kind of got out.
Yeah.
When it came to Mara's home run, on the other hand, that was crushed.
Well, that ball hasn't landed yet, so
and now Justin Mara has 2 home runs in Christie Pitts in this series. Still not quite topping what Ryan Rio did in that Leaf series, where he hit a home run in every single game of the series, but getting there.
And Dad's center in game 1, he had quite the playoff series, and I told him that afterwards. He was really obviously shaken up after that loss, and nothing he could have done more in that series for the Baycats.
Ryan Rio is a great baseball guy to talk to. He's just a super nice guy. Pleasure covering him. Fernandez on the mound. That's hit to left field. Did Connect get it? No. Drew Lawrence under it. And that retires the side. Second hard hit ball by Marcus Connect that ends in a flyout. A 1-2-3 inning for Fernando Fernandez as we head to the 9th inning. Can the Leafs close it out and win Game 4? We'll find out. You're watching the IBL Finals Game 4 on Maple Leafs Baseball TV, presented by TD Canada Trust. Welcome back. Top of the ninth inning. 3 outs left for the Toronto Maple Leafs to get, and it's Franklin Hernandez's job to get them. And it's the top of the order for the London Majors. They just need 1 run to tie or 2 to take the lead in the ninth, and that's what Franklin Hernandez is trying to prevent. First pitch to Jacob Newton is a strike.
The only issue is he's facing 1, 2, 3 in this London lineup. And it looks like it's Kraminski in the hole for London, and not Cleveland Brownlee, to answer your question from earlier.
So Brownlee unavailable for this game, it appears. That's up high. It is the top of the order, and Kraminski has scored the only run of today. So there's no rule saying Brownlee has to be in that spot.
Especially if a guy like Newton or Wright gets on, Kraminski can easily do something to make this a London lead. At least tie the game.
Kraminski, however, has struck out the last 2 times up. A check swing strike to Jacob Newton.
And Newton knew he went on that one. He's not at any point criticizing the umpire on that one. He was just upset with himself that he went, but Franklin Hernandez does that to people. Made Justin Gideon break his bat in the last series, and you don't see that often in the IBL.
1-2 to Jacob Newton. Got him! 1 out! A strikeout swinging to Jacob Newton, and that'll bring up Taylor Wright.
And Kraminski now has a helmet on. He's on deck for London now, so Cleveland Brownlee not an option. Again, hope he's all right. It's not some type of injury or anything like that, and hope he's back for Game 5.
It's always the most fun when all the best players from every team are in it.
You want best on best. There's no question.
First pitch by Franklin Hernandez is outside for a ball.
Taylor Wright has massive power. He has 2 home runs in the playoffs, but you have to wonder if he wasn't playing half his games in London, just how many home runs he'd have.
There's a strike, 1-1.
All 3 bats that Hernandez is facing here in the 9th inning, all batting from the left side. Newton the lefty, Wright the lefty, Kraminski the switch hitter. That you don't see often in the IBL.
Not very many switch hitters.
But 2 in this game, Venezio.
Venezio, I was just thinking that. That's down low. It's so hard to master hitting from one side that you don't often see.
Well, you know what? Sometimes Venezio even bats, let's say he's facing a left-handed bat, he'll still bat from the opposite side, just because I think he feels better on that side sometimes. But sometimes he also then turns around.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Yep.
Not necessarily from Venezio, but from different switch hitters. If they get into a groove from one side.
Oh, they'll just go really close to us.
Oh my goodness, that's he's near Ben's equipment.
And Taylor Wright is up 3-1 in this count as we get really close to a skunk.
Yeah.
And we don't have handheld mics today, so I can't really stand the way I did when the skunks invaded Thomas.
Do you guys usually have handheld mics?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I could lift the mic. I think that ruins the sound quality a little bit. That's down low, ball 4 to Taylor Wright.
And that is massive as it brings up Kraminski. And even if Kraminski strikes out or what have you, pops out, whatever it may be, Mullen comes up as a go-ahead run. So that is a massive free pass and a tough walk.
Thinking double play. That's what they want. They want to finish off this game and not have to face Robert Mullen. The skunk moving away from us, by the way.
Well, again, they live down that clubhouse, the dugout.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try that again, the press box.
Yeah. So right where Ben set up his nice equipment?
Yes.
Okay.
But they won't spray the equipment, right? I mean, unless it gets the music.
I don't know. Music might scare them.
Yeah.
I am not an expert on skunks. I just know that if you remove the skunk sack, they make really good pets sometimes. I've heard this.
A big spot in this game here.
Here's Gibson Kraminski. That's a strike, 0-1.
And there's a disappointing at-bat for Hernandez against Wright because he wasn't really close to the strike zone at any point in that at-bat outside of the 1 strike he threw. There was no question that all 4 balls were exactly that. He was not getting squeezed by the home plate umpire or anything like that.
Kraminski singled and scored on the Mullen double in the first, hit into a fielder's choice and reached in the third, and has struck out in 2 at-bats since. Has a runner on first right now with 1 out here in the 9th inning. Shows bunt, pulls it back, gets away from Mara. It's a ball. 1-1.
Taylor Wright plus speed at first base, not high-end or elite speed, but a ball in the gap definitely ties the game, and then a base hit can get him to third base depending on how hard the ball's hit.
The Majors trying to take a massive 3-1 lead in the series. Leafs trying to even it up at 2. This is a huge game in this series. Throw over to first, back in time. If the Majors can go back to Lat Park with a 3-1 lead, that's so much different than going back tied.
Well, there's no question. Right? I mean, taking 3 games in a row against London is that'd be a tough task. A really tough task.
Especially at Labatt Park. Kicks and comes home. That's low.
He's missing low right now. And you just can't allow Kaminsky to get on base.
No action in the Maple Leafs bullpen. Jacober was ready earlier, but he'll be a little bit colder now unless he starts to warm up again.
You can't allow Kaminsky to get on base because then you look at potentially not only London tying the game this inning, but perhaps taking the lead with Mullen coming to the plate, because even if you get Mullen then, you still have to face Reichstein. So nothing's easy about this London lineup right now, Patrick.
2 balls, 1 strike. 1 out here in the inning. 1 run on 10 hits for the Majors, 1 error. 2 runs on 4 hits for the Leafs, no errors. Kicks and comes home. That just misses high, and it is 3-1. Fans right behind the plate on the bleachers there, letting James Lyles know what they thought of that call.
Hernandez losing the strike zone, 15 strikes, 12 balls. And we talked about it earlier in the broadcast. You can't walk guys. You can't walk guys when you try to close out a game against the best batters in the league in this London Majors lineup.
Throw to first, right back in time. And for as much criticism as James Lyles got on that call, I think we can agree that from our angle it did look right.
Yeah, it looked totally fine to me in terms of the call being a ball.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Have to throw a strike.
Kicks and comes home. That's up the middle. That is caught by Dan Marr. They go to second to try and double him off.
I thought that was a pop out and that Taylor Wright was losing his mind going to second base, but it was a ground ball.
Oh, it was a ground ball.
Yeah.
I was very confused.
Okay, so you're on the same
no,
page.
I was
Okay.
100% on the same page as you.
I thought Taylor Wright made the dumbest play in IBL history, Pat, but no, he was hustling because he had to. Ground ball.
So they get the lead runner.
And that's why we don't argue balls and strikes up here, because we really it's tough
Yeah.
to tell sometimes.
They get the lead runner. That is the second out. And over to first goes Kaminsky. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That looked off the bat
Pop out.
like it was caught at second base by Dan Mara.
Chris McQueen comes on as a pinch runner for Gibson Kaminsky at first base, and now Mullen comes to the plate, but he ain't looking at.
Yeah, I misheard Ben Davey. I thought Chris McQueen came in for Robert Mullen for a second.
That would have been nice by
That
London,
would have
but,
been interesting.
Robert Mullen is going to make sure right now that he doesn't even need to have a pinch runner, because he's looking to swing for the fences here to give London a 3-2 lead. But a ball in the gap does tie the game with Chris McQueen's speed, because he has elite speed. He also might try to take off for second base, but I don't think so.
Here's Mullen. That's inside, ball 1.
If you're going to pitch inside to Mullen, you best not miss, because that pitch just is a little bit more to the right. That might be on into the soccer field by Robert Mullen.
Over to first, back in time is McQueen. McQueen's got even more speed than Taylor Wright.
100%. Yeah, I mean, London wants to get on base in that spot with Kaminsky, but they'll take that whole trade-off with McQueen over, Wright or Kaminsky. But right now, the big focus is
Wright was
at bat here.
out on second as the force play. That is up and away for a ball. Counting out 2-0.
And you can't ease in a 2-0 fastball here to Mullen, because we talked about that Justin Morrow home run. Mullen hit one in the last regular season game against the Leafs at Chrissy Pitts that went way into the soccer field. So
Over to first, back in time again is Chris McQueen.
I'd be stunned if McQueen ran 2-0 and took the bat perhaps out of his best
With
batter
2 out.
Yeah, with 2 out. Yeah, so because I knew the last out of the inning.
No chance.
You gotta let
But he'll be off on contact.
Yeah, oh, for sure. You'll let Mullen swing in this spot. Can't ease in a fastball.
Here's the 2-0 to Robert Mullen. That's away. Try to get him to chase on that pitch, but it's 3-0.
And the issue, though, you walk Mullen, okay.
Byron Reichstein.
Mullen doesn't beat you, but who's had a massive hit in game 5 last year in the finals, a home run? Who had a massive home run 2 nights ago on Friday in London? Byron Reichstein. So
there is someone warming in that London bullpen, by the way, just in case the Majors can tie or take the lead.
It'd have to be Carrington.
Fouled away.
Mullen gets the green light 3-0. Not too surprising, but at the same time a bit surprising given he has protection behind him in Reichstein.
The Bushmen chanting, swing and miss.
I still would have given the green light to Mullen in that spot.
Clear,
I agree with it.
concise.
Yes.
Over to first again, back in time.
I don't think the effect's the same to a guy like Mullen. Obviously, he speaks English 100%, but obviously from Panama. I don't know if it's the same effect as a guy from London that he knows every single word that's being shouted.
I don't think Robert Mullen particularly cares.
I don't
is
think
the big factor here.
I don't even think it's in his brain right now.
Okay, I'll swing and miss because they told me to. Oh, big swing and a miss, 3-2.
You actually read Mullen's mind on that one.
I don't think he swung and missed because the Bushmen told him to.
I'm not going back to that pitch.
Bushmen are trying it again.
Yeah, I'm not going back to that pitch though, Patrick. You just can't do it. This is the loudest I've ever heard Christy pitch, but I'm not going back to that pitch because if you do, Robert Mullen might take this place as quiet as it's ever been.
Crowd on their feet. 3-2 to Robert Mullen. Runner goes. Swing and a miss! And the Leafs have won it. They have evened up the series at 2 and have won Game 4 by a score of 2-1.
Franklin Hernandez, Patrick, is an absolute monster for the Maple Leafs. Every single game and every single postseason game he's come into, he has been lights out for the Maple Leafs. And Patrick, we witnessed yet another amazing ball game here at Christie Pitts.
The Maple Leafs have evened the series up at 2. The Majors scored first in this game. That was a single by Gibson Kraminski and an RBI double by Robert Mullen, but that was the only run they scored all night. The Leafs added 2 thanks to back-to-back home runs in the 4th inning by Jordan Castaldo and Justin Mara. That was all the runs they need to take the win. And let's take a look at our Pennies player of the game, Ryan Eakin.
I'm thinking about it, and we're going to have to let Ben Davey make the announcement.
All right, Ben Davey.
And I was going to say the exact same thing. Old Hal Castro was an absolute monster on the mound for the Maple Leafs. He's the definition of an ace. He's a workhorse. We talk about it. You don't want a pitcher that gives up the ball and says, "Oh yeah, I think I'm done for the night." And Hal Castro, you don't take the ball away from. He's the type of ace, Patrick, that you win championships with.
All right, so Ryan and Ben both go with Angel Castro. I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to go with Justin Mara after that massive home run.
That was my other choice. It's a game-winning home run. It was an absolute moonshot. No question, but as Ben Davies announced it, we got a Game 6 here on Thursday night at the friendly confines of Christie Pitts.
Back behind the scenes, Miles Ryback has been doing our graphics. Miles, who's your player of the game today?
I have to go with Angel Castro. He was dominant for the first 7 innings of the game before he started in a little bit of trouble. He was absolutely fantastic.
All right, you can catch the Woodbine Racetrack post-game recap on MapleLeafsBaseball.com shortly after the game. That was our Pennies player of the game. We thank you so much for watching the Maple Leafs and the Majors in IBL Finals Game 4. The series now tied at 2 as it heads back to Labatt Park in what should be an absolutely thrilling game. I can't wait for it. Noah Smith and Dylan Baker will have your call on Majors TV for that one. And then on Thursday, we will be back at Christie Pitts. Thomas West and Ryan Eakin will have the call for you right here on Maple Leafs Baseball TV. This has been a 2022 Maple Leafs Baseball TV production. For Ryan Eakin, for Miles Ryback, Ben Davey, Roger Lajoie, I'm Patrick Melbourne. Special thanks as well to Thomas West. Have a fantastic